We are doing this. We are doing this. Let's see.
Rachel says we're live. It says we're live.
No, we are. See, we never tell you nothing. I never said one word. Yes. Look at this. It looks like I'm not even connected. There's he wanted to play. I wanted to play some nice tune coming in, and it looks like it's just like it's not listening to me. My Bluetooth ain't listening, so it might not be able to happen tonight. No.
Rachel says we're live.
I know we are. Look, we got some people in the waiting. Yes, we are live. People, check in. We are here. Let's distribute the votes. Thursday, people. I've got too much energy. I've got too much madness. Come on. Everyone, I want some energy from everybody today. I'm pumping it out today. Where you at? Who's checking in? I want to play this tune while people are coming in. Where's this tune? Prin, listen to this now. Listen to this. It's coming in, Prin. I'm trying to push it forward. We're waiting.
Been traveling these wide roads for so long. My heart's been far from you. 10,000 miles gone. Oh, I wanna come here and give every part of me.
You sad, you just sad.
On my hand, in my lips all in peace. In my darkness, I remember Mama's words reoccurring me.
Rachel, what happened there you want today?
You know what you say?
That's for Rachel today.
Take me to your river.
Check in, community bay people. Aye.
Oh, take me to your river. I wanna know.
Come on now, forget that love in your heart. Come on now, son. Get that romance. Come on.
Hit me in your smooth walk.
Come on, money bag. Let me see that smile.
Oh, as a man with many cries.
That's his yawn. Come on. Hot boy's yawn. Smile for me.
As
Smile.
my sins flow down the Jordan. Oh, I want to come here and give.
Hey.
Every.
Listen, that tune is so beautiful.
Yeah, one in the fridge.
That all makes you want to be all in love and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Walking down the river with someone, you know, holding hands and doing all that, and like looking into their eyes and like, oh yes, baby. You know all that romantic stuff.
Do you that?
Huh? That just put me in some different place. I was like, where am I? I'm supposed to be in community debate.
Definitely. Get back to it.
Debate. You know what I'm saying? Never get back to the real things, real subjects. Anyway, debate massive. We are back. So remember, have you seen this therapy room thing? So I wanted to talk about therapy room first. Now, people, I want to know this. If your man or your woman who you're in a relationship refuses to sleep with you, you know, like doesn't sleep with you very often, like every now and again, you know, doesn't even give it to you once a week, maybe or once a month or once every 3 months, would you continue to stay in that relationship? Is it a duty when you're in a relationship with someone? Is it your duty to have to sleep with that person, or can you have a sexless relationship? Is that fair?
Define relationship first.
Okay, so on therapy room, those people were together, weren't they? Right? We.
No. I'm talking about, is it marriage? Is it just seeing each other, girlfriend, boyfriend?
You can either have marriage, or you can have a long-term relationship. So, you know.
Okay.
What do you think, Nelson?
Well, if he doesn't mind her getting it somewhere else, and they have an educated discussion about it, if he's not going to get to her and he don't mind her getting it somewhere else, then they can stay married. But I saw that video, that poor woman. But then she was saying a bit of like some things which are dodgy as well, though. Come on now.
So, Nelson, what would your view be if your missus refused to do sex?
Yeah, that would be funny. Listen, it's your duty. Yeah, it's your duty to for you, it's for you to be intimate with your partner. Yeah, it's your duty. I look at it as a duty. I don't, but if, for example, if she is not feeling up to it, or it's been over a week or over 2 days, you two need to sit down and talk. You need to have a chat. You need to find out exactly what is going on, because otherwise, why be in the relationship?
Okay?
So
2 days or 2 weeks.
No, there must be a reason. There must, because she's not your friend. If she was your friend, yeah, that's fine. There is no intimacy there. There is none of that. But if you're going to sexually involve yourself with someone and actually be in a relationship, okay, that's with the understanding that sex is going to be a natural occurrence. So it's a duty thing. Yeah.
Right.
So when she's refusing to do that, then what does that say? But are you going to leave that person? I reckon if you're married,
yes, thank you, Danny.
To be honest with you, yeah.
Hold on, let me just finish this point. If you're married, you can't leave that person, because marriage is about duty. But if you're in a relationship with someone where you're not married to that person, then yes. And there's a lot of feedback, Rachel.
Yeah, who's got something on in the background, because I can hear pure feedback.
Might be Kareem.
Oh, it's Little. Sorry, me.
Right.
Yeah. So basically, what all I was saying was, if you're just in a normal relationship, you're not married, then leave that person. If they're not prepared to change, then you have to leave that person. Now, if you are married to someone, I'm sorry, but you have to stick it out, because marriage is much more important. It's more than just sex. Now children are involved. Now a family is involved. Now a legacy is involved. So yeah, it's completely different in a marriage situation than it is in a normal relationship. Normal relationship, leave. Don't even stay there. Leave.
Okay, Nelson, that's a bit selfish, yeah? And let me tell you the reason why. Now, there's some women, when they clock 40, between 40 and 48, they go through a transition in life, something they call menopause. Yeah?
Kathy, you're talking about a relationship.
Yes, yeah? I am talking about it. We're talking about sex. Now, when they start going through that, their whole life changed. So it's just fear. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, Kathy. You see, you have to define what you're talking about. Are you talking about a long-term relationship in which they've managed to get to the 40s, to the 50s, or are you talking about a young couple in their 20s? You see, it's completely different. Hold on, wait, Kathy, wait, because you see, as people grow older together, relationship becomes much more than just sex. Okay, so you can understand someone that's going through menopause and so on. You can understand those biological changes, because relationships become much more than sex. But these days, your average relationship lasts 2 years and 9 months. So I doubt most relationships are going all the way up to the 40s and 50s. It's not happening that way.
But which one of us here now is in the 20s? None of us. So we're talking from this age group on the panel now. That's what I'm talking about. There's some men that just don't understand certain things that women go through at a certain age. And they would just think, yeah, but sometimes the woman herself cannot even explain it. You will find a woman in tears all the time. Let's talk about a woman, let's say from 35 downwards.
Okay,
can
so you're
find
saying,
Mhm.
sorry. So you're saying basically a woman from 35 to what, 45, and she gets into a new relationship with a man? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. Then if she's going through that, then she if that man wants to be sexually active, do you think that man should be punished?
It's not it's not something that you shouldn't put it that way, that being punished. No. When a woman is going through that, I mean, listen, this woman she would cry for anything. There's some days she would be happy. Some days you don't even know what you've done to her. You can't even pass and touch her. She would start pelting some word behind you. She'll be looking at you angry. So men, they just have to try and understand that bit about women, which some men they don't. It's not that she
Yeah.
doesn't want to,
Mm.
but it's just how our body is made up.
But Kathy, I understand that. But the thing is, if you're talking about a long-term relationship, okay, and as men grow older, they become less interested in sex as well. It's not just a natural thing with women. So usually in long-term relationships become much more than just sex. Okay, so I can understand that.
Definitely.
But if she's initiating a relationship late in her life, okay, and depending on how that relationship, what the dynamics are, what the agreements are. So are they going to be having sex all the time? Is that how the relationship started? Was that the other thing? Or did they just wanted did they just seek out a companion, or they just wanted to be together as like a companionship? Do you understand what I'm saying? So the
I understand
priorities
what you're
change
saying.
the priorities change depending upon what age group you're in, and how exactly you manage to get into that relation, and what the relationship is about. Okay, for a younger person, it's going to be more sex based. For an older person, it's going to be less. It's going to be about just companionship. So it really depends, and it depends. All of this factors, all of this has an effect on it. All of this has an impact on it. That's my opinion on it.
What's your thought on that, Moneybags?
Oh, right. So let's just pick up from what Nelson was saying. Intimacy, from what I understand by intimacy, it's also about talking with your loved one. So if she's not feeling you, then that's your chance to get together and talk, because that's part of intimacy. Because when you're making love and stuff, you're still communicating, right? You have to communicate, otherwise someone ain't getting turned on. So that's a very big factor. So that video that I saw, the woman screaming, "He ain't effing me and he ain't da 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 da," I personally thought maybe they'd had an argument, or maybe he did something. I don't know what was going on there, but to be airing out that laundry, for me, that's like a cry for help, or there's something going on that they're not really stating. And like what Kathy was saying, if a woman's got menopause, that means she's pausing from a man. And there's nothing you can do about that. She's going through something. So how can you say, like, whoa, I just think just talk about the problem, find out what the issue is, and try and resolve it. As in a relationship, whether you're 40, 50, there's still some kinky people still want to get out there and do their thing. So I don't think it's a particular age group. I hear what Nelson's saying. When you get to that age, yeah, you do want companionship, but not to say sex is the biggest thing, but it is part of it, but it's not a necessary thing that some people are looking for all the time. But sex is, like I said, intimacy for me is also talking with your partner and telling them all your stuff. And they should be able to understand you and be your friend and try and work it out that way. Once you get through that, then I'm sure the love and the sex and all that stuff will come back.
Yeah.
That's it. So go on, and now, not Nelson, Janelle, just to pick you up a little bit. Is it your duty to have sex with your partner in a relationship?
Hi, Janelle.
Is it okay to have?
Is it your duty to have sex with your partner? You know, like how on therapy rooms, the guy was not sleeping with the woman at all and she's having to pleasure herself. if your man decided that he wasn't giving you any of the goods, what would you do?
What we in a relationship about? What we there for then is, that is part of a relationship unless it was explicitly clear from the beginning that, the relationship is not about that. It's a cohabitation or a friendship or a co-parenting or something like that. If you're in a relationship with someone, physical, emotional, mental, that's the commitment. If things change, be it health reasons and whatever, that you may not be able to, fulfill that commitment or that understanding, then that's a conversation. Even if your feelings change, you're not attracted, or you don't feel yourself, or you need a break, or you want to go inner and you just want to, that's a conversation. Because again, it's a relationship, it's two people, but I can't have an expectation of you, and we have a clear understanding of that expectation, and then you change your mind and not communicate it to me, and don't expect me not to have a problem with it. Of course I'll have a problem with it. You have to communicate.
I hear that. Was it as well? Another thing. It arose up. I was having a conversation with someone. If your partner, sorry guys, if your partner didn't perform well, so say for instance they had a problem with pre-ejaculation, what would you do? Is that something that you would try to work on, or like if there's a problem arise, how would you deal with that? If you thought the person was a really good person and they dealt with you properly, could you deal with pre-ejaculation, ladies?
Conversation again. It could be a health issue, a conversation where we're both adults, and if I love you and I care for you, we're sleeping together, so we should feel comfortable enough to have that as a discussion. Again, it's not a problem. It becomes a problem when you don't talk about it. If you want to ignore the elephant in the room and pretend it doesn't exist, or everything is perfect, then it becomes a problem. But if we could talk about it, and be understanding, and there's care and there's love, then I don't see why it should be a problem.
Okay, I'm going to ask the men about this, right? So, Jean, let's come to you. If you started to have a problem with pre-ejaculation, sorry, it sounds so funny. Would you be able to talk to your other, and do you think that they should be understanding with you? Would you go and seek help to try and get that resolved? Sorry, you're on it. Let me unmute you. Sorry. You're on mute. Hello?
I think
John.
He's having one.
John, we can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Go on, John.
Yeah, I heard this question. Yeah, if I had that type of issue, I would immediately seek medical help. There's pills you can take.
Sorry?
There's pills that you can take if you've got those issues. So, I mean, one thing but from my understanding is that it could be psychological too. So if a man is not performing, it could be either a health issue or it could be a psychological issue. Maybe, I don't know, stress, worry, insecure in the relationship. Those are the things that can affect a man's libido and his sexual drive. But going back to this topic with regards to that, we had a talk yesterday about the guy, and a young man, if you're not intimate with your girlfriend, that's a recipe for disaster. And the relationship is on its last legs, I always say. If there's no intimacy, that usually means the relationship is on its last legs, because that's the bond that you leave. I mean, you may have a relationship that's actually volatile or maybe up and down, but if the sex is continuing, that's usually the bind that could keep you guys together. Make up sex, you know what that means. So if there's not even that, not even makeup sex, then we go to bed vexed and making up vexed and frustrated. At least with makeup sex, you can go to bed and wake up feeling a bit better. But if there's no sex in the relationship, yeah, it's doomed.
Doomed. Doomed. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. So basically, okay, so does anybody else think that if you don't have sex in your relationship, you can't even have makeup sex, then does it mean that your relationship is doomed? Kathy, what do you think? Kathy? Kathy?
You're on mute.
You're on mute, Kathy.
Go on, Corinne, you saying something?
I'm saying that I don't know if sex is that important in relationships. People give it a lot of energy, you know, and sex is now taken a million miles away from where it should be. People are just willy-nilly out here fucking up the place, and it's just madness as far as I'm concerned. Sex is for me is very, very sacred, and sex for me is a thing that you only do when you're ready to have children. You don't even need to have sex every day. And I'm also a yoga teacher, yeah. So for me, when you maintain that calm energy, it makes you stronger. It energizes you. So for me, I'm against the whole let's fuck every day, let's fuck 3, 4, 5 times a day. It's unnecessary. You know, wasting out your energy, your vital energy for your life. That's my opinion.
Okay, so how often do you think, Corinne, do you think if you're in a relationship, how often do you think you should have sex with your partner?
Oh, it does depend, because just emotionally, socially, in terms of like the ethers and the spiritual realm of things, at the beginning of summer, you're usually a bit more horny than you are in winter, you know, then in dead of winter, you're really, really horny. So it's, for me, it's a very much a periodic thing, and it just depends on the energies. Yeah.
Well,
having it so often, it's not that necessary.
Amani said intimacy is more than just sex. People can have sex without being intimate, and I agree with that.
Definitely.
Yeah,
know.
but for intimacy, you're talking about a long relationship. So you're talking about people that have been together for a very long time for you to develop that level of intimacy. Okay, if your relationships last 2 years and 9 months, yeah, you're not going to develop nothing like that. It's going to be sex based. Okay, and what Kareem was basically saying, sex is different for men and as it is for women. So you're talking biology now. Okay, biologically, men like to have sex quite more often than women. You understand what I'm saying to you? So, but the thing is, in terms of building intimacy, in terms of relationship being more than just what do you call it? Being relationships being more sex, that takes a long relationship. You have to be one for a long time for you to develop that intimacy, that understanding, that love for each other. Okay, you can't be going out with people for 2 days and expect to have that level. That's not going to happen like that.
Okay, so all right. How often then, since a man's sex drive is higher, how often, Nelson, do you think that a man should be performing with his missus a week? Or how often do you think, you know, if your partner should be having sex with you every week?
So once a day, you know, that's reasonable.
Once a day. Okay. Was it, so even if you got children, was it, so you've got, say for instance, you've got a few children, they're under the age of 5, you know, do you think that it's still possible to have sex at least once a day?
Yeah, of course, as long as you plan it.
With children?
Yeah, and they do sleep, don't they?
Sometimes. Right. So for the people who have got children in the house, right? Do you think that it is feasible for you to be able to have sex once a day with a few children under the age of 5? Every day?
You said?
Yeah, so 2 children under the age of 5. Say you've got a 5-year-old and you've got a 2-year-old or a 1-year-old. Do you think that to be able to have sex with your husband or your partner once a day, even though, as you know, children make you exhausted, do you think that it's feasible for a man to want sex with a woman once a day?
Feasible for a man to want it or for it to actually happen?
For it to actually happen.
I said, that's some kind of witchcraft right there. Several children under 5? Yes, witchcraft.
Twins, they're twins, you know, they're twins.
Witchcraft. That's not natural.
Hey, we've got to bring Mo in. Mo, this is your time, man.
Yeah, because you've got 5 kids. Yeah. So Mo, come on, answer this question.
Angel.
Well, having children, not all under 5, obviously.
You're on mute.
Oh, am I on mute?
No,
No, I'm not on
here.
mute. I'm not on mute. Sorry. But yeah, having children under 5, as it's already been alluded to, yeah, it takes a bit of planning. They obviously sleep, and obviously you can't too much, but you know, you have to shh, breathe, shh.
Go in the dungeon. You gotta find that dungeon. You gotta go in that dungeon.
Yeah, there's no safe word. No, but there's, you know, and if they don't want to, then they don't want to. There's nothing you can do about it. It's tough. You know, you're gonna have to deal with that. But you know, there's always a way. Like, you know, the children sleep.
Be real creative, man.
Sleep, man, sleep. And if they don't sleep, Medi said, you know, wait. I'm joking.
They're not joking that.
Right. So basically, okay, you don't think because of, I'm looking at it like this. You know, I've only had 1 child, so and obviously he's a big man now. I just remember when my son was small, and I just remember how tired you feel after you have a child and exhausted. By the end of the day, you're absolutely exhausted. You haven't got those energy levels. Even now, like I could go to work, you know what I mean? Say, for instance, tomorrow I've got to be at work at 8 o'clock. Got a customer coming at 8 o'clock. I'm on late tomorrow. I don't finish work. I have to close the whole building down. I don't finish work until 7 o'clock tomorrow. I won't get home until 8 o'clock. I'm exhausted. So by the time you have yourself food, you know what I mean, change your clothes, whatever it is, you go and lie down. To be honest with you, you would normally, like half the time I would have fallen asleep. If I didn't have the live today, I would have just fallen asleep straight there. You know what I mean? Eyes half asleep. So when then you have somebody then trying to sleep with you when you're absolutely exhausted like that, especially if I had a child on top of that, I don't even know how I would even cope, because I just about can cope with my day as it is now. So for somebody to want that every day, I was going to say that even though, yes, I would like to do it every day, of course, nothing wrong with that. But I'm just looking at how it's possible, because your body, I think, would, as Corinne was saying, would completely run itself down, because you know, the energy that you use, was it when you are sex with someone, you know what I mean? They say it's like a marathon. You can lose weight by having sex. So
very true. It's exercise.
Yeah.
Do you go light when you go gym? No. So don't go light in the bed either. Or hard. You get stronger, get better. Just have a protein shake. That way you're done at the end.
Rachel, it's not always going to be every day, okay? Because things happen, you know, real life and all of that. But the thing is, you should be striving it to do it almost once a day, because if you don't, that could easily end up to being once a week, then once every 2 weeks. And believe you me, you don't want that either.
So do you think that if a man doesn't get to sleep with you at least, you know, a few times a week, do you think that, you know, that's basically looking for disaster, and that the man will then go out and cheat on you?
I'm Christian. I'm not allowed to cheat.
I never said that just because you're Christian. I'm just saying in general, your thoughts, is that what is, you know, is that what you think?
Yeah. No. Seriously, because men's sex drive is higher than women. So yeah, that's naturally going to be the case. He's naturally going to basically go out there and look for something else because he's not getting it at home. Okay. And that, I mean, that's just biology. That's just the reality of it. Okay.
For a split second, it sounded like Nelson said Christian men don't cheat.
No, I never said that. I never said that. I
You
never
I know,
said that.
I know, I know, I know, I know.
Don't even
Nelson,
try it, Mo. I never said that.
I know, I know. Come on, man.
I never said Christian men cheat, but the thing is, are you allowed to cheat? That's a completely different
Oh,
thing. No, you're
but you
not.
know, we're not allowed to do
Nelson,
anything, but people do it.
why do
Uh-huh.
you
I agree. Yeah.
you keep repeating the statement that men's sex drive is higher
That's negative, and women.
than women?
Mhm.
Why on what grounds you think that's valid?
No, biology, isn't it? We
Where
want
biology
to have.
says that.
I mean, look it up. Men's sex drive is higher. Men want to have sex more often than women. Men value sex more
Yeah,
than
but
women
then
do.
with that, most times they
Mo,
want to have it more times than men, but it's if they can keep up with the woman. Because half of the time you guys want it, you last what, 10, 15 minutes,
Kathy,
you all
Kathy,
over go to sleep.
Kathy,
And
Kathy, keep up with what? We the ones who do all the work. What are you talking about?
what work you guys do? What work?
Really? What work? We don't lay there.
Alright,
What?
hold on,
I hope not.
hold on.
What work do you do? Come on, stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
I
a
don't,
jump.
I don't agree.
Women are lazy. What?
What?
But
Next
sometimes
time,
we
just
don't
straight
listen. The thing
rigmarole.
is, sometimes
Listen,
women
listen.
don't want it, yeah. But just to
Yeah,
please
yeah,
the
there
man,
you
you know
go.
what? You'll be like, oh, you know what you want to say? You go just lie there. You know what? Please yourself. When you finish, you roll over and go to bed.
Oh, look. You want to know? You want to know? You want to put a woman to the test? Put it on top. Let's see how long she stays there for before you
Listen.
have to go back on top again.
Okay, Nelson, that just depends on which women you have dated. I'm not being funny, I'm just being straight with you. Depends on, as you said, you want to date a fit woman. She has to be submissive, she has to be fit. So if your woman is fit, then it doesn't,
Ha!
Shout out to Kevin Samuels.
right?
Oh, that man is nice.
Right? If she's fit, then that means that she'll be able to last, right? So, and as
Definitely.
Kathy was saying just a minute ago, that was it. Most of the time, the maximum time that someone is even lasting is 10-15 minutes before you can't manage anyway. So really, what is, you know,
And not
10,
only
10,
that,
10,
with
10,
women,
15
no.
minutes. That's a lot of work, Rachel.
with
Yeah,
women,
10,
I
15
only tried
minutes
to
is
make
not.
you guys look
Listen,
good. I could have said 2 minutes,
long.
but I didn't put 2 minutes because I
we
know you
are
guys would have tried to cut my neck off. So
All
not
you
every
need
I
is
girl.
a
just put it 10
protein
But with
shake,
minutes.
and you
women,
can
we're
last
Not
for
more
every
in
girl.
our
clean
mind.
Not
45
every girl
seconds.
is good like that down there. Not every girl is good like that down there. The
No,
point I'm trying to make is look, listen, yeah, that's 10, 15 minutes. I mean, must I be explicit of up and down? Like you acting like
I'm not thinking about it like that,
you
Nelson.
acting like man's just what laying there. Of
Nelson,
course, if
You're
you're
all
just
doing it
laying there,
wrong. That's what it is.
Nelson,
You're all
as a
doing it wrong.
woman,
it's
as a
too much.
woman, I would say that I'll give you some insights.
Thank you.
Our
Insight.
sexuality is mental. If you can keep us there mentally, we'll have sex with you all day, 24
Definitely.
hours of the day.
God.
We'll have sex
Say
with
that,
you.
girlfriend.
If you could keep that energy there, we will. But y'all aren't, you know, the span mentally, it's in, out, you get gratification, and then you're off to sleep, you know? I
Off
don't
to
agree
sleep.
with the fact that you all have a higher sex drive than women. I think
I
there's
don't
You
agree
don't.
with that.
Mo, do men look? Someone go on Google right now and basically
Google in
ask
a
that
woman.
question: Who has the highest sex drive, men or
Yep.
women?
Yeah.
Look, you can't ask me.
Nelson,
It's
Google.
unfair
Google.
because I
Hey,
have
hey,
Well,
a sport
Mo,
background.
Mo, you're the
I have a
scientist, man. You
yeah.
told me, innit? Mo, go
you
on.
know, for sex drives, you know, women and men, just as it's already been said, it's not just physical, it's also mental. And so, you know, when at the right time, either or should be able to initiate or get as much as you want when you want, if you're both in that place. But going back to that couple that was on that program, if he's not getting it, then maybe she's not doing something right, because
Mo,
he should be ready to.
Mo, I'm talking about taking young couple on their 20s, okay, and or even teenagers, right? 19, 18, that sort of age, right? who has a higher sex drive? Who's always willing to, who wants to have more sex than the other? Men or women? Go, Mo.
Yeah, I'd have to say them young teen boys, I'm afraid.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There we go.
Why is
Are we
that?
done now?
That's because you all are men. You all would say that because you all are men.
No
From a
science.
Rachel, let's okay. You did the perspective from a male perspective. Rachel,
Yes.
women or men? The same scenario. Who has more sex drive?
You know what I believe? I believe that our sex drives are just exactly the same. It's just that because it's perceived that women don't, we don't make it known. Like a lot of women won't make it known if they're at home doing whatever they're doing. It's a normal thing or bantering, you know, amongst guys. Yeah, I beat one off, or I did this, or I did that. Women are a little bit more discreet about those kind of things. I think that a woman's sex drive is just as high. I think that just because we don't talk about it, I think that it's just as high as men. And as you know, guys, was it a certain time of the month, right? Anyway, women's sex drive is even more heightened, simply because of your egg is coming down. You feel like a cat. You know when you see the cat on the floor when it's like, you think that we don't feel that? You know what I mean? Sometimes, you know what I mean, you're walking around the place and you feel like, goodness me, everything just feels heating up because of that's when your body's telling you that you're supposed to be reproducing.
That's right? Once a month, Rachel. That we get that every morning.
No. Can you let me finish, please? Let me finish.
I can't do this.
It's not once a month, right? That you've been in by. I'm saying that it's even more heightened. So continuously, you feel like that. Remember, everybody's sex drive is different because you can date a man, and every woman on this panel can tell you that you can date a man that is not really interested in sex that much. And you can date a man who is interested. Everybody's just got different libidos. Some men don't, it's not,
can't hear
not a lot for them. All right. So, you know, I mean, it doesn't mean too much to them. Some men want to do it all the time. It's just like some women. There's some women that want to have it all the time. Look at the lady who we're talking about on the therapy rooms. She wanted to have it all the time, down to the point where she's having to self-pleasure herself and her man is in the house. So obviously her sex drive is quite high. His libido is not high. His libido is low. So anyway, you got your hand up, Abraham. What did you want to say?
I was just gonna follow up on the bit where Mo was talking about the different ages and the different sex drives. Obviously, your sex drive, it waxes and wanes from time to time. When we're talking about people in their 20s, the man them, they will recover a lot quicker simply because your body just recovers that much quicker. That's why you can manage to have sex 20 minutes every 20 minutes because they're simply just recovering that much quicker. You get to your 30s, life kicks in, it's not going to be as high. But again, it also depends on the man. It also depends on the woman. Everything that knocks you throughout your day will affect you, and it will determine whether you're on it or not when you do get home. And it also depends on your intimacy level with your other half. If you're not intimate throughout the day, for the man them, sorry, but she's not going to be on it. As Janelle had already said, if you're mentally stimulating her throughout the day or throughout the week, she's likely to be on it when you're on it. You wake up in the morning, you're good to go. She's not really ready, so she has to warm up until the evening. So you have to, if you're that way inclined, you have to keep it spicy throughout the day so that when you do get home, things are ready to go.
So Nelson, why do you think that you shouldn't keep it spicy throughout the day so it kind of romances your woman for her to feel even nicer? So you just think it's, no, you don't do the romance thing, it's just as it is.
Wow, Rachel, the way you're portraying me right now, that's mean, you know. My
So
days,
you
man.
just shook your head.
I shook my head because is it Abraham? Abraham, yeah?
Yes.
Wow, and what Janelle was saying just sounds like a lot of work, man. Just some person that I have to stimulate psychologically the whole bloody day. You can forget it, mate. Are you on it or not? Like what? What am I here for? To stimulate you psychologically all day so you can be on it. Am I crazy or something? Is this some? What is this? Some crazy? What is this?
But listen, my
Stimulate your
guy.
Imagine if I told a woman, yeah. Imagine if I told a woman, you have to stimulate me psychologically all day. Yeah,
No,
for me.
I was about to say
For me
that.
to
I was
hold
about
on.
to say that. You got to stimulate me for the week
For
to get in
me
it.
to give it to you the way you want me to give it to you all day, you have to psychologically stimulate me. Oh,
Okay.
what? Are we done here? Are we done here? Are we done here?
Listen.
Pause on, you know,
One sec.
background.
One sec. Can I respond?
Hell no.
Can I respond?
So yeah, Abraham.
Yeah,
Sorry, yeah, man.
let me respond.
Go ahead, bro. Sorry, bro.
All
Sorry,
right.
bro.
Okay. Yeah. I hear what you're saying. Yeah, it does take a
Stimulate
lot of
nothing,
time and
bro.
effort, but it's not a case of you're having to work that hard. You communicate with them on your lunch break. I'm not saying, oh, sit there and send her sweet nothings and try and send her all these emojis and shit like that. I'm just saying you talk to her.
Eggplants.
Exactly. You don't need to do none of that. It's just simply talking. And if you've been communicating throughout the day, throughout the week, and you know how she's feeling, and she knows how you're feeling, then it's more likely that you're not starting at
We're talking about sex, right?
yeah, you're not
Okay.
starting at base zero.
We're
Like,
talking about sex, right?
yeah, we're talking about sex.
Okay, because I feel like you're going to a different direction, brother.
Okay, well, this is the way I see it.
That's what I say. Okay, cool.
Yeah, if you are good with your woman and things are okay, there are times when you can drop certain things and you will be able to gauge by her reaction if she's on it. If she's not on it, then you need to come about it another way, because you might be on it, but she's not on it. And
So because what I'm trying to say, we talk about sex, we talk about maintaining a relationship.
Both. It's both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Both.
Yeah.
I thought it's all about sex. Now it's
Yeah,
about maintaining a relationship. Okay, cool.
No. Okay, so, bruv, you can maintain both by doing the same thing.
I know, but the subject we're talking about was about the action part, not the maintaining part. So I get it. You're right, bro. You're right.
Cool.
Okay, so Stefan, would you, how would you deal with a partner who didn't want to have sex with you at least once a week?
Personally speaking, I've come to a level whereby I can go months without weeks without having it. I got other stuff in my head. My younger days I was very active. Not that I'm tired, but I just got to a point where it's if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. As long as you're on the same level, whereby look, I'm tired. You understand that? It's cool. But then it depends on the relationship. Do you know what I mean? So for me, I got to the point where I'm like, okay, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Do you know what I mean? I go to the gym, not quite a lot, but but I got that self-discipline to a certain extent where I can go 3 months, 4 months without doing it. No, do you know what I mean? Seriously, everything I do is discipline. I think it comes down to the way I live. Do you know what I mean? And but I've said something about the vitamin D. When you go to a country where it's very sunny, boy, you feel it. It's a different ball game. For those who know who live in the Caribbean and the African countries, you understand. Maybe you might understand what I'm saying. But I do know when every time I hit the motherline, it goes crazy on me. But then, thank God for the self-control, that I'm able to restrain myself. But I think it comes out to personal discipline for me. It doesn't bother me, to be honest. I've passed that stage. I know friends who are very sexual addictive to certain things, and then yeah, they can't control it. Fortunately for them, they end up, shoot themselves in the foot. But that's not me. Do you know what I mean? So I was very, very active in my youth days, as everybody else here. But I got other objectives in my life. That's all.
So what would you say to someone like, so Nelson is saying that a woman should be having sex with her partner at least once a day?
What's that? Can you say that again, please?
Nelson was saying that a woman should have sex with a partner at least once a day.
Once a day? Well, that depends on the type of woman he has. It should. I don't think should be there. Yeah, like I said, it comes out to your understanding. You can have women out there who are not really into. I got friends who are so, very, when you see them, they are sexy as fuck. But when it comes to the acting part, they are boring. They're not very interested in it. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think the should be taken out of equation here. It comes down to personal experience. I don't think women should be having sex every once a week. The youngsters and the 20s, they can do it. But when you get to a certain stage, like I think someone said, I don't know who was saying it, you get to a certain stage, certain age of life, things are different. You got kids, especially women. When you have kids, it's a different ball game. But then I think there's also has to be a timetable. That's between both of you and your partner. You guys will organize it. That's my take. But I think the should be taken out of context, personally speaking.
Did you say you have to have a timetable to make love? I don't. Timetable to make love. I couldn't just do it. Sorry, I've been listening. I know I came in late. I've been so busy today. But to have a timetable to make love, that's just something that I don't get it, because that means there's no sparks there. So we're gonna say Monday we're gonna have sex, back shot, front shot. Wednesday,
mate, like I said, you got to understand people's schedule. People's life are different. Your life is different from others. I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about in general. You could be, you got what I mean? So look, this is the thing.
The fact that you actually got a timetable is confusing me, because if I came in and see my woman and said, baby, you're looking lovely today, give me a hug, and I might give her a kiss, and then
Bedrin, that's you. But like I said, see, this is what I'm saying. Everything comes to the personal life. It's different. People are different. That's what I'm saying.
But I never heard this before. In all my life of being who I am and know who I am, I never had a timetable in my time yet, because
let me tell you something.
What comes out since COVID, because I really need to know this.
Let me tell you, it has nothing to do with COVID now. Mate, it has nothing to do with COVID.
Something on Saturday, brother, so I need to book that from now.
That's what, guys, I said something earlier.
Sorry, but I'm sorry to pick on you like this, but there's no timetable in this thing, my brother.
It doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect me because like I said to you, that's not do with me. I said certain people. It comes to personal.
I never met it before, but no disrespect. But if you have a timetable, your woman's gonna make another timetable too. No disrespect in any way, right? She's gonna make a timetable to see somebody who doesn't have a timetable, who's flexible, because a woman is.
Did you hear what I said earlier? Did you hear me? Did you hear what I said earlier? I don't think you heard what I said. I don't think you heard. So I don't blame you talking like this. It doesn't bother me. But like I said again, for me, for me, if it happens, it happens. It doesn't happen. But I know friends who set up timetables, but that's them. That's their lives. Again, it comes to the personal thing. Things like this is personal, But I get what you're saying. If you're the kind of man that want to do it every single day, boy, that's you, brother. You know what I mean? Keep doing your thing.
Yo, what's going on? I jumped in a bit late myself, putting Princess to bed. But actually, I actually heard everything you said. To be honest, I'm actually glad Mark kind of jumped in with that, because I wasn't even gonna say that myself. But it wasn't even a timetable thing that I was actually hitting on. To be fair, I get what you said about different people have different schedules, and that's understood. I think when Nelson said about actually a woman should have sex with a man once a day, I actually believe in that concept. I understand what you mean about the should be taken out of it, to be honest. The word should, because depending on a person's life. But
thank you. That's what I wanted to hear.
It's the case of this. When you actually, as you're older, for me, it's the case of I'm a freak. I don't care. So it's one of them ones. If I could I would actually have sex about 3-4 times a day. Every day doesn't make a difference. Now, because of having kids and working, we can't. But same way, when I go to bed, if I lay down with my woman, whether it be 2-3 o'clock in the morning, I have to wake her up certain times. Actually, if I want to and I'm down, cool. But most times your woman should not really actually deny you. If she's too tired in that sense, then you can't, obviously, because it's just basically all for you, and sex is meant to be pleasurable in that sense. However, that's why I think Mark is saying about the timetable thing doesn't really make sense, because you just come in. But I think to keep a relationship solid, we're human beings, and human beings, dolphins, and the bono monkeys are the only species that actually have sex for pleasure. Everything else just literally has sex to reproduce. So human beings should actually be having sex on a regular basis, and that's the standard. Those are out of all of the whole entire animal kingdom. Even the dog itself, when you snip its balls, it goes docile. But a dog, a lot of people refer to dogs as very sexually active, but you'll see a dog humping the trees, humping tables, but actually a dog doesn't actually have anything. So it's only down to human beings. Where we're sexual creatures, we should actually be having sex 2 to 3 times a day on average, regularly, on a regular. So I do believe that concept that actually it should happen.
Okay. Like I said again, it's personal. It comes to personal touch, mate. I agree with everything you're saying, brother. You know, like I said, you don't know what's some, like, man, I come from holiday. I've come from Africa right now. Yeah. When I was over there, boy, that's all. If man understand what I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. But then again, what I'm saying to you is I got friends, I got people, you know, that go through certain things of life. So that's what I said. It's a personal thing. You can be like that. That's you. Someone else can be different. I'm talking general here. But my personal experience, brother, I can go months. I don't mind, because I got other things in my head. But then when I come on the list, it's a different thing. Do you know what I mean? But again,
no, but the thing is, if we bring it back to the original term that was said, because Rachel actually said that, where Nelson actually said that a woman should be having sex with her man once a day. And I personally believe that actually the statement is correct, but it's not actually a woman should. It's actually people should be having sex, especially in a relationship, regularly. You can't actually put a term on once a day, but actually very regularly, in the sense of if you could. Go ahead.
I have a friend, for instance, yeah, she tells me her husband only touch her once a month. And this guy is sexual. No, listen, this real story. But what do you do with that? He told me so many times, rough, and I said, look, this is your thing, I can't into your marriage. But that's just a simple example. But I also do know some American girls, especially the successful girls, who sold the soul to success. I like that. Not all of them, but the majority of them are like that. They don't like to be touched. You also got them girls on Instagram that spend time a body workout. That them girls don't want to be touched, mate. They don't. They worship their body. Many of them. That's just a simple example. But like I said, it's a personal touch. But
see, it's for me. It's not even down to the woman. In that sense, like some and whatnot. It's the fact that we as human beings are sexual creatures. We are sexual beings. That's the be all and end of it. And depending on how we grow up. So when you said about your friend in that situation, I've been in that situation. When I was younger, I remember I was actually seeing someone for, I think it was all about 7-8 months. And to be honest, I tried the whole be a nice guy and go out and those things there. And to be honest, when it got down to the thing, the sex was absolutely whack. And then I thought to myself, you know what? And I still tried to be there. And I was trying to think to myself, we had a connection anyway. So she's tried to still work it out. Actually, no, it fell away. Alternatively, again, I've met someone who actually had sex very fast and the relationship actually lasted quite long or whatnot. So in that sense, the sex, or when having the sex itself, doesn't mean anything. But if you're in a relationship where you're in like that, what actually happens?
What did you say? I didn't hear that. What did you say just now?
I said, if you're in a relationship where you're very sexual, for example, and the other person isn't, what actually happens is you actually have an imbalance. That's actually what actually happens. So in that sense, this is where people now tend to stray away when they say you actually find your compatibility. Because if you're actually with someone and you're not sexually compatible, this is where infidelity actually turn around and stems from. And the reason why is because it's not actually a sexual preference, it's a needs. certain things that people get from sex is not necessarily just the physical act. It's sometimes it's the intimacy, sometimes it's the reassurance, sometimes it's the ego boost, sometimes it's the nurturing, sometimes it's actually the spiritual
I
connection.
hope you heard something that the lady said, that some people have sex without being intimate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, ladies, can you define that to us, please, if you don't mind? Can somebody define that to us? A lady, can you actually, a lady here can define that to us? The fact that you said a man can have sex with you without being intimate. Can you define that? What do you mean by that, please?
Chemistry. They mean chemistry. Sometimes in the mind, a woman, a man can actually make a woman actually have that stimulation in their mind without even have to touch them. That's called chemistry.
Yes.
Man.
Cool. That's chemistry.
Chemistry with you, which a lot of men. The reason why my guy was saying he didn't eat the sex was whack is because the chemistry weren't there. But they do connect in a certain way.
Is that what you meant, Safo? Is that what you meant? Or is it you meant because the girls? Is that what you meant? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. I think I didn't really actually know how to put it. I'm just saying that's actually, when you look back at it, that's how it actually turned around. But when I'm actually thinking about it, yeah, there was no chemistry there, but there was other connections there. This is when people feel like they're friends and stuff, and then when friends actually cross that line and you realize you're not supposed to. But this is where we have that. So you end up having some sort of connection with somebody, and yeah, I guess there was no chemistry there for it to actually pan into a relationship. Mentally, there was no future there or anything. And as a man, a lot of women like have that whole anger sexual thing. But if a man's ego is bruised, like he's not really on it. Like that's actually what happens. And if a man's ego is bruised, and the thing is, if a man doesn't actually eat, like if you can't boost his ego, or if you're not the caliber or status of what he feels.
Not every man like that.
Okay, well, okay, it's true.
That's what I'm just. That's what I'm trying to get you guys. You know, people are different. For instance, when my ego is bruised, I go somewhere else. I'm like the fisherman. You know what I mean? If you want to play that game, I say, okay, cool. Where I'm from, like my dad always said, there's plenty of fish in the sea. But I think we ponder on this thing for too much.
Yeah, I think we touched on the point earlier where it is about compatibility. Everyone's got different libidos, different needs, different expectations, and it's all about finding someone that balances yours. I think whoever said that if you're not balanced, it can lead to infidelity. I believe that. I completely understand that. But I think, like I just said already, I think it's about finding someone who is compatible with you emotionally, spiritually, and
not necessarily. Sorry, you got people
you might not get all of
that
those, but in terms of sex, I think you do need to be compatible with someone. Otherwise, there is going to be an imbalance.
Yeah, 100%. Because
you could be with a woman who's quite happy to have sex once a month, once every other couple of months, or whatever that suits your expectations. But if you're with a woman who wants to have sex every day and you're not really on having sex every day, there's an imbalance. It's not going to work.
Yeah, you're gonna cheat.
Yeah, I think it happens. The thing is, it happens on a regular. The thing is, I think. Sorry, what's your name? Sorry, I didn't know who's the girl who was speaking. Cherie. Yeah, Cherie. I agree. I think what it is when I was connect on 5 strands: emotionally, financially, spiritually, sexually, and mentally. Now, it's not that all 5 of those need to last, but if you actually have 3 out of 5, then it builds a solid foundation for a relationship. What happens is when you actually have 2 out of those 5, you now have a connection. I'll give you an example. If you are sexually compatible with someone, yeah, we're fucking all day long. It's a good thing. And if you can talk to me and actually we can connect and pillow talk, it's all well and good. But after a while, if you're not, as a man, if you're not financially viable or you don't see in certain ways, it can fall apart. Again, mentally, if I emotionally start going away or I actually have a downfall and you can't build that up.
No, I forgot. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I think it goes back to what I said before about compatibility. You can have it's a bit like love languages. You've got 5 love languages. If you're not with someone who's compatible with you in at least 2 or 3 of those love languages, then it's not going to work. So even though you might have 2 out of 3 bonds, if you're not bonding with me where I need that bond, mostly, then there's an imbalance. And somewhere along the line, someone's going to be unsatisfied. And if someone's unsatisfied, do you have sustainability?
Exactly.
Okay. I think we all have this common view and different ways of seeing things. But that's part of the human. That's a part of sharing things. You know what I mean? So, but if I hear the stories I'm hearing, boy, you guys gonna be laughing all day, all night long. So good.
Please share some of the stories you want to know. What stories?
Nah. So we got other subjects. This moves to something else. That's for another night.
Please, just
No,
say.
Basically, you know what? The thing for me, the experience, because I live in different countries in Europe and just in the world. Like, for instance, the French white girls are different. Right? They are on a different level. They are not sexual being. You got to have my African sisters. Depends, like, or giving a simple example, girls from Uganda, there's a particular tribe in Uganda that they are trained to know how to fuck a man. And when you get one of those girls, they will rip you apart. Seriously. I've handled one of them, and I can tell for a fact I felt it. I'm like, nah, that's serious talk, right? You got girls from Rwanda, you got girls from Ivory Coast, you got girls from Congo. Congolese women are taught from the very young age, certain things. So it comes back to personal experience. That's what for me, I said earlier, I can't put a point on it because you have to experience what other things. There's so many things, so many things. You got to go from Ethiopia. Different is a different thing. They're different. All right. Now, how am I going to put a final judgment on it? I can't, because there's so much to share. And that's just a simple example. But again, it comes down to personal experience. When I hear guys saying you want to have things 3 days, 3 times a day, I'm looking. I said, mate, you haven't met that woman that will rip you apart, and you know. I can tell that right now. Women have more strength.
Nah, bro, that's for you, G. I'm telling you that for a fact. I'm telling you that. Nah, straight up and down. Listen,
Like
I've been
That's when you turn around and I have to turn around and chop like it's like the Drake song.
It's one of the ones where I'll tell you, it's one of the ones. I've met certain girl that rips back. Like, yeah, you understand. But the wickedest thing is the reason why I came up the way that I came up was because of that.
Ask you a question? Can I ask you a question?
Go on.
Have you ever dealt with a younger than girl from a Madibo tribe before? Have you ever dealt with any woman from Rwanda?
I've dealt with a Rwandan woman, I've dealt with a South African woman, I've dealt with a Congolese woman. Yeah, I've dealt with all 3 of them, as you're saying. And actually, they weren't the ones who ripped me. Not at all. Tell her that, not at all. What I'm saying is, there's a South African girl that she did teach some things, like, I'm not gonna lie, but no, she didn't rip me. Now, what I'm saying is this. I'm saying when I was younger, it's one of the ones. Listen, I moved into when my mum and dad moved into my new house at about 14, yeah. Basically, in the cupboard, there was a stack of porn, yeah, but I didn't even know it was porn. There was all these videos, and my dad picked up the first one. It was like the Discovery Channel. He picked up the second one. It was like 2 rhinos and just the wilderness and stuff. He picked up the third one. It's just like, oh, you know what? This is documentaries. Like, when you want to record over them. So I just took the piles in half and cut the pile in half. And then took another one. When I took it, it's some porn. Took the next one, took some porn. Took the next one. I was like, raw, what actually happened? They sandwiched 3 what my dad had to do was take 1 more, and he would have seen it. There was like 24 different porn tapes. That was when I was 14. I had got through so much porn before I was like 16, 17, that I was bored of porn. Yeah. And what it actually used, I used it as like strategies as for actually having sex. And the first time I actually had sex when I was in school, and then I actually kind of turned around and talked about premature ejaculation and that. I never wanted to be that guy again. So what I'm saying is, I used to turn around and say, "Rah, your soldier's a muscle in it, so man's got to train him." Do you understand? And I turned into a bit of a hoe just so I could train myself. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, when certain girls were talking about things, I was saying that so I can go 6, 7 rounds straight. Yeah, simple as that. I can bust, get hard, and come again. What I'm saying is, I got myself like that. So I'm saying, when girls, you talk about girls that rip, I rip girls apart like all day long. So I'm not turning around and gonna go too deep now. But what I'm saying is, you cannot tell me that. That's who you've dealt with.
Excuse me,
you
sir.
Understand? Trust me.
Excuse me for 1 minute there. What can I borrow them videos, please?
Brother's not getting deep. He's swimming.
I'm gonna show you something straight, yeah? We're all men here. We should stop blowing our own horns. We know when we bust, we need to recharge. There's
Boy,
no back business going on there. It's straight.
boy, I think I might have
Everyone's
to call my queen onto
metabolism
this
is
call. I
different.
might have to call my queen onto this call,
Nah,
you know, like.
Everyone's metabolism is
That's
different.
what nobody say. I ain't
Look,
gonna lie.
depending on how you
I
work
can go
your
3
body,
times
your
for the
body will
night. Yeah, I
respond.
feel good, but I
Hey,
feel
Your body
tired.
listen,
I'm
responds
working
listen.
in the
via
I think
morning, but
overload.
still.
Your
listen,
muscles respond via
man have a
overload. Your nervous
cycle.
system
Man
responds via
does have a cycle
overload.
where there's certain times man just can't go. Like, you know, certain
Guys,
times, like
have you noticed?
in certain period of the
Have you
month,
noticed
like man just
something?
got
Have you
on
noticed
it.
something? The women are not
Very
talking.
Yeah.
Have you noticed? The women are not talking. They're just listening to
And I
us.
don't blame them.
That's the
Obviously,
I don't
message.
blame
obviously,
them.
women
I,
women
I,
are
Message.
bad.
So,
I
guys,
don't blame the
Isn't
women.
it, ladies?
guys, let's do this. Yeah, I think we good here. I don't mind going to the next chapter because when women stop talking, it's a message.
Listen,
They're listening, really. That's what it is. They're just listening.
Even the listening. My mom
Professor.
tell me something. My mom always tell me when she listening, she don't talk. It's a message.
Professor, you were saying.
That's all.
We want to learn. Listen,
You want to learn what? You ain't learning nothing here. You think we fools? We ain't no fools.
Listen, okay,
Ain't
you
no
know what?
fools.
If you really want to learn, as you know what, actually, turn around. If you really want to learn, as a guy, I'll tell you what. Actually, realistically, I'll tell you what. Do you know what? Talking about libido, yeah. Let's actually be real here. Talk about libido, yeah. Anyone who smokes weed will know, firstly, that actually you can certain times you can actually last a lot longer for some reason when you're smoking. Now, the thing is that it's nothing to do with the smoke. It's actually the THC in the cannabis, but it's nothing.
I
to do
don't
with the
smoke
THC.
weed. I mean, I don't smoke weed.
Okay, no, that's fine. No, I'm saying, okay, well, that's
So I
fine.
should let you know.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can check this out. So that's what I'm saying. It's not necessarily about the smoking. That's what I'm saying. So firstly, it's the THC in the cannabis that perfectly people realize. But actually, what it is it's the nutrients from the actual herb that the cannabis is actually releasing that actually acts on your hypothalamus gland to allow you to not to suppress certain things. So as a man, what actually happens is when you're actually in the mood and you're actually a certain point, your senses are all at on a certain height. So when it actually gets to a certain height, now at a certain point, your body reaches that point where it actually wants to obviously ejaculate. Now, if you actually have certain herbs and nutrients within yourselves naturally, it actually is like the same way of controlling your mind is in focus. You're not actually thinking about it, but you still enjoy the moment. And it's the same way as where a woman now actually holds her orgasm without actually doing it for about 5 to 10 minutes. So as a man, what happens is you can now actually go through that process without actually realizing by eating just eating a lot of actual real, like, let's say like mangoes, pineapples, carrots and broccoli and spinach and things with B12 and B6. Yeah, those type of things. If you eat them on a regular basis, what actually happens is when you actually empty out, you're not fully empty. Your body actually, it's like a kettle where it suddenly recharges. So what I've actually had is, that's why I said that actually you can actually go down and come back up about 4 or 5 times in a row. And it's one of the ones people need Viagra and that stuff there. If you actually look at the Viagra things, you look at the things in it, they actually manipulate in B12 and 6.
I just want to make sure one thing. Does it mean that you go down and then you go back up? Or do you go down, relax, drink a glass of water, and then you go back up? That
I'm talking about go down.
Man, I just thought,
yeah.
For me,
and I'm talking about sometimes not even go down.
I want to hear what you got to say. I want to hear what you got to say. You can go down and go back up, or you go down, drink a glass of water, and then go back.
Yeah, I'm talking about no. You don't have to drink nothing. I'm not having to. No, I'm drinking nothing. I'm saying just go down and come back. I'm talking about sometimes. Listen, if you're actually in, I'm saying sometimes
you man are
won't
gonna
even
need
go
to take
fully
a
down.
class,
You'll
you
go
know that?
semi. You
That's
actually
what I
go
said.
semi.
I think that's what you constantly got, ladies. And
I just want
to have
to
discussion.
No,
No,
for all you guys that
it's
can only go
interesting.
once, you need to train, man.
I am
need to sign up for the
so
class.
impressed with
So
the
this-
scientific explanation and the details and the references to nutrition.
Because
Well done.
it's 10 o'clock now. It's 10 o'clock. Let's move to the next subject. You know what I mean? Because guys, we can meet up another
My
time.
guy
you know,
is treating this like a sport, boy. when yo,
that's cardiovascular fitness. Let's keep it real. That's cardiovascular fitness.
Let me tell
Have
you
your
something, guys.
hydration next to you, you'll be all right.
Well, I learned something. I've learned my personal experience. I don't want to talk much about these things. I'm a man of action. You get me? But I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, loud and clear. But I could also say the sun, the proper sun, the one from the Caribbean, Africa, it could be the one that can help. For me, it does that for me. I don't need to smoke. Do Do you get what I mean?
Probably does. Yeah, actually does. The thing is, the thing is, what is the sun?
I can't be down to Africa to have sex, man.
People underestimate vitamin D. Like people actually underestimate vitamin D, and the thing is, girls make jokes about it.
The vitamin D is one of the most powerful elements.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna tell you. No, you are entirely right, and I'll tell you this why. Because exactly what I said. What did I first say? I said when you eat certain fruits and vegetables, like mangoes, like pineapples, like dark green. The thing is, those fruits and vegetables, they are extremely high in B12, B6, iron, and vitamin D. Now, the reason why is because they get the raw sunlight. This is what gives them their potent color and the strong taste. Do you understand? And those are the phytonutrients that actually work within your body. It's the same way. So in that same thing, if you go to Africa or to Caribbean and you spend certain time within the sunlight, it does do that because the vitamin D is basically just recharging, as a black person, the melanin within our skin. Now, we don't actually realize how powerful our melanin is, and our melanin needs to be recharged with fresh water and fresh sunlight. Do you understand? And fresh air. Now, we are in this country, that's why, listen, don't get twisted, yeah? That's why, another thing about the masks is why they're making us wear the mask, because the thing is, they can't turn around and tell you as a black person that you can't be having all your air anymore. We're still the strongest people actually out there. Do you understand? And then all the food and stuff, they're breaking everything apart because it's the vitamin D, but yeah, trust me, we're going on to another topic, but yeah, that's the thing. The vitamin D it's the thing still, for real.
I do believe that when it comes to the vitamin D, and I believe that when you go on holiday and you go to the Caribbean, or I haven't been to Africa yet, which I am needing to go. So anyone's going to take me, I want to go. But
I can't take you.
Me going to the Caribbean all the time, you know me guys, I'm always there. I think that it does heighten your sex drive when you go there. And if anyone says it doesn't, I think they're lying, right? Because
they got problems. They got problems.
So you're saying, Rachel, can I say something to you, Rachel? So you're saying my man who only have sex once or whatever week or something, he can't send his girl to the Caribbean then?
Listen, okay, let me tell you something, right? Let me explain. All right. So if you have got
spend the trip sleeping.
If your partner that you've got who has sex with the person once a week or once a month, if your partner doesn't have any self-control of herself, then that means that, you know what I mean, you shouldn't even be in a relationship with someone that can't go to where there's vitamin D, where she's going to feel heightened or he's going to feel heightened. Because if I go to the Caribbean, I'll go out there to either, you know, I like to play carnival, I play mass, or I go to see my family. Now, I'm not going there to sit down and think, right, I need to go out there to go and have sex, right? Yes, I feel more heightened. I feel more, you know, I mean, like I want to have sex, but it depends on what your self-control is. If you have no self-control, then anywhere you go, you're going to be
a man that has no self-control.
Can I ask you a question, please, Rachel?
A man that has no self-control is
Can I ask you a question, please, Rachel?
It's very
all the
simple.
Ladies, apart from all the ladies, yeah, you saying to me, you all of you have always gone on holiday and never have a holiday swing. Not one of you on this group and never once have a holiday swing.
I do have it. That's what we're trying to tell you. You're not listening.
Okay, respect you. What about you, Rachel? You never go away, like in all the years you are up to the age you are now. You never gonna have a holiday swing.
Of course I have. My husband is away as well. So when I was away, my ex-husband, of course, like a rabbit.
Okay. So everyone have a holiday swing here. So it's possible that you can go on holiday and have sex in the sun if the right person can. Sorry, right vitamin D catch you. The double D catch you. The sun and the D.
But then I've also gone on holiday and not had sex at all, just because of
that's understandable.
Holiday, it doesn't mean, as I said, I go on holiday. You know, if it wasn't for COVID, I'm on holiday 3-4 times a year.
You know,
country. So it doesn't mean because I go away 3-4 times a year, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, when I go there, let me just rip off my clothes and go look a man, because I don't even do that. If I don't do that here, why would I go and do that there?
I respect you for that, but I never have a holiday fling yet. I've never been on a holiday with boys yet. I always import my shit with me. Sorry, my language. I always gone on holiday with a woman. I've never been on a boys' holiday yet. Never.
Well, that's you. That's your experience, brother.
It's what I'm saying to you. I've never been on a boys' holiday. So it's the thing that I have, that when I go on holiday, I can't have a holiday fling. Because if the girl give me something and I can't find her and I come back and give who's over here thing, I'm a bit cautious like that. So you understand?
But that's you though, brother. That is you.
That's what I'm saying to you, my brother. be easy. I hear what you're saying. But I'm just trying to show you on my point. I just said me. I didn't say you or everyone in the world. You know what I'm saying to you? So what I'm trying to show you that I'm never ever had a holiday fling.
Okay. Well, but that's what I said. It's like you haven't had one, but there might be people who are here. But you asked a question. You asked, Rachel.
I'm not saying that.
When you go on holiday, does that mean, you know, if you have a partner or someone has a partner and they only have sex once a year or once a month or whatever it is, because of its heightened of the sun, does that mean that they're going to go out and do that? And as I said to you before, if your partner is, you feel that your partner is not even trustworthy to go on holiday without you, then that means that you shouldn't even be with that person, because of, you know, you might not have been on a boys' holiday. If I'm with a partner, I would want my partner to be able to go out with his friends, just like when I go on holiday to play mass. If he wants to come to Grenada or whatever, or Jamaica or wherever I go, you know, as I said, I'm always traveling, Trini, wherever, right? If he wants to come with me, that's not a problem. If I go on a girls' holiday, it's not a problem, because I don't see going on holiday as something where it means that I'm going to go and have sex. Do you know what I mean? It's not a thing. Yes, what we're trying to talk about is that your libido, it automatically happens. In the springtime, in the summertime, all the animals come out and they start doing their thing. They start trying to procreate, right? So the trees start reprocreating with each other. That's why they have fruit. Remember, when they're having fruit, that means that's like their children. Do you see what I mean? The seed from one plant, you've got male and female plants. That's the reason why summertime, sunshine means, you know, reprocreation. So obviously, if you're in a hot country where it's consistently things grow all year round things are growing, obviously that means that the people are growing and they still have that sexual libido all the time.
The sun.
So it's nothing to do with, it's the sun.
Again, people need to, this is what I'm trying to tell you, the sun. What is the sun is one of the most powerful forces in the universe. That's one thing. Especially for us Black people, especially for our continent, tropical weather. The sun is one of the most important things. That's why these people they want to have some of our melanin in them. It's the sun. The sun was made for us. We're made for the sun. Simple as. That's my personal understanding.
And we're sunshine people. You see what I mean? We are sunshine people.
Yeah, we are sunshine people. We are, but unfortunately, we are training away our sunlight because we're not united.
Actually, that on the note of being united, guys, what do you think about what the guy said in the group this week, talking about, was it Black Africans, was it, or not even saying Black Africans, Black Americans, that he wants to distance himself from everybody, from all of us, you know, so he's in a UK group and he wants to distance himself from anybody who is African.
Is that the guy from America? Is the guy from America, right? Listen, let me tell you something, guys. American people, you need to understand one thing. They are lost, regardless of what. They are lost, okay? I'm sorry to say that. I say again, it's so sad when I hear a Black person talking like that. And it hits me to the core because I'm thinking, okay, we here fighting to come together. You got some guy who has no sense coming with a statement like this. And then if you notice, I don't know what I said. Did I say it's all bullshit, right? I think I say it's all bullshit, didn't I? Listen, you need to say one thing about African Americans. All they do is talk eloquently, and they don't act. That's what they're known for.
I don't agree with that.
No, bro, you cannot agree with me here. That's what we're here for. From my experience, I live there. I know how they are. Unfortunately, that's where they cannot move forward. That's what I do. That's what I do say. But let me tell you something about Africa. Some people don't know. Africa is moving in one direction. The Europeans are beginning to realize that the future is in Africa. And the concern is the upcoming generation is beginning to realize that it's time for us to go back home. Look, I just came back from back home. All right. Within 3 months, I've visited 4 free countries already. And they all have the same purpose, moving in one. You might not see it on the media, but it's happening. So now we have African American. I don't think you're seeking for the whole African American, but unfortunately, the percentage that I don't know, the knowledge I know of African American, they think like that. They think they're superior. Now, I want to ask you to anyone a question here. Has anyone here lived in Africa before?
Yeah, I was born there, but no, I came here when I was quite young. But
where were you born? Which Angola, right?
No, I'm Nigerian.
No, that's
Nigerian.
me. That's me.
Anyone else?
Yes, Angola.
Does anyone remember the fundamental teaching he has when he was probably young? It was anyone? Those who were one there?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. The fundamental teaching, the fundamental teachings, fundamental education.
I agree with what you're saying. But I don't think it's actually I don't think it's recent. I think now where it's just now the like as you're saying, people are more becoming aware of it, but the whole of the world have actually been aware of it. Yeah, the whole of the world have been aware of it, but now people generally are being aware more of it. But I think Africa generally, we was moving towards that one world setup. We were trying to move as a unit, which is why the whole Gaddafi thing came about, and obviously why they tried to kill him, because he was the only one who was actually almost successfully going to allow it.
Yeah, we know you got killed. Because me, I'm getting into
And they're
politics.
going for 2025. Something like that.
I'm getting into
United
politics
Africa,
because I'm
2025.
getting into politics and I'm working with a lot of people. And I'm telling you, there's a movement taking place. So, I got tired of hearing African American talking like that. And unfortunately, not all of them, but the percentage that I said I don't know, they're all think the same. It's sad. But guys, let's remember one thing. Like right now, look, we have from different backgrounds here. We might agree, disagree, but we come together for one thing, to share knowledge, don't we?
All right, can I say something now?
Yeah, I'm done talking.
John, and then Abraham next. Got his hand up.
Yeah, well, first of all, I disagree in terms of saying that African Americans are lost, because statistically and historically, African Americans are, when it comes to fighting racism, white supremacy, no one has been at the forefront of that more than African Americans.
We're talking about identity, brother. We're talking about identity. It's different. We're not talking about the fight. We're talking about.
No. Let me finish my point, please.
Go ahead.
So, yeah,
My apologies.
as I was saying, yeah. So when it comes to and that includes their identity, because they were fighting for them. They were fighting for civil rights as Black people. So that was their identity. You may not agree with them calling themselves Black or a Negro or whatever, but at the end of the day, they were fighting for their identity and their right to exist as a human being. And statistically, we've got a whole continent that hasn't achieved in terms of addressing systemic racism more than African Americans have. African Americans, that's why they're the icons. That's why if you used to pull out Black icons, people that have fought for against racism and white supremacy, yes, of course we've got Africans, the Nkrumah and people like that we can pull out. But statistically, we've got the Malcolm X's, they've got the Martin Luther Kings, and on and on.
Of course we do have them. Of course we're always going to have them. We're going to have them.
But that's a very small number.
You have them because they be on the.
Let me finish my point. I haven't finished my point.
Say, brother.
So statistically, I just wanted to address that first. Yeah, just wanted to address that point first. But in terms of, I think the guy in the group, as I said before, I think he's a bit vulnerable. So I don't really take what he says with unfortunately, I think there's more issues there. But what he's trying to represent is what is known as, first of all, as the ADOS movement, American Descendants of Slaves, and then there's the Foundation of Black American movement. Now those movements, okay, on the face of it, it looks very divisive, and I thought it was divisive too. It's only when I actually listened, especially to the FBA movement and what they were saying, I was beginning to understand why they were felt it was important for them to have their own identity. The reason being, number one, a lot of migrants that come into the U.S. are vetted by the authorities. Okay, they get vetted, and part of that vetting involves they will question things about their political status. And what happens, unfortunately, is that you get some people from the Caribbean and Africa that go to America under pretense of identifying as African American, but when they actually land in the US, they distance themselves from African Americans. And you can see this sometimes when they have achievements. In America, when there's someone from, say, for example, Nigerian background, if he happens to win or she happens to win something, there's Nigerian American.
Of course.
So hold on, let me finish.
That's part of the game. That's the same thing. What people do.
They make a point. hold on, they make a point. Hold on, they could be born there. And my point is, they're making a point to differentiate themselves from African Americans.
But have you ever wondered why?
Hold on, let me finish. That's fine. What African Americans are saying is, okay, if you want to do that, then we're also going to distinguish ourselves as our own ethnic group. Now, it doesn't mean that there should be a hatred. There should be hatred.
But that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. And not what they're doing. I'm going to stop you right there, brother, because I think you're stepping out. You're stepping the contest here. One second, Richard. Let me interview for a second.
Let me finish my point. They're not all doing. They're not all being.
That's what I'm saying. It's a long point. You're taking things. You come on, bro. But make it short, bro. You have to look. I get what you're saying, but unfortunately, I'm gonna have to stop you there, right? What I do know is teaching history and living history are two different things. Okay, I'm here. I'll give an example. Dr. Human Johnson. All he does is teach history. When we talk about experiencing it, it's two different things. You talk about Malcolm X. Do you know Patrice Lumumba? Do you know the heroes of Africa, for instance? They don't get the time now because they were not in Africa. They were not in Europe, they were not in America, they were in Africa. We got too many strong heroes better that have done a better job than Lumumba and Malcolm X.
I agree 100% because
so don't come to me.
I have to cut you there because I agree with you. Do you understand? Because when I tell people about like Shaka Zulu, like people
Shaka Zulu, for instance,
people don't even understand who Shaka Zulu actually is.
The Queen had to respect his kingdom because she understood the heritage.
Like, people do not understand when I turn around and talk to people about Yasuke, the black samurai. They don't understand about that. Like, and the thing is, then what I'm saying is, the thing is, I have to interrupt you because the reason why is because what I actually agree with you, where to some extent it's not actually that Americans are lost. What it is that the thing is, we as Africans, firstly, I would say this, and I was raised up in the culture to believe that we as Africans, a lot of people who have been taken out of Africa don't understand their true heritage and their culture, and even actually what it actually is to be African. And in the first one, that's why actually, as my parents, for example, they would look down on certain people without realizing it, and that's actually the reason. Now, as I've grown up, I've understood the reason why, and it's because of what he's saying, that people don't actually understand our true history and not go into it. And I'll give you a classic example. I am ticked off by this whole movement of these black empowerment people that are coming out with the whole spiritual figure, Ashe, and I'm thinking, do you know you're speaking Yoruba? Do you know what Ashe means? You're sitting there saying every morning, you're sitting there saying Tyree and telling me about black magic, and the thing is, this is not juju, and if this is our heritage. I'm thinking, do you know most of the people who talk about this black magic stuff and all this and saying that this is not thingy are not from African? Why does it always have to be these either American or Caribbean or the people from the UK? Like, and the thing is, no, I'm saying I live in Nigeria. My friends are from Ghana. Why do none of them turn around and start reading tarots and having all these signs and putting these sayings? Because we know that it's witchcraft. Do you understand? But the people turn around and ASC, it gets on my nerves. So I understand what you're saying.
Can I interject?
Sparrow.
One minute,
darling. You will interject.
Guys, hold on 1 second. I want two people because one person's had their hand up so patiently, and then I'm going to go to Janelle.
I'm so sorry about that. I'm so sorry. Go on.
Right. So Abraham is waiting for about 10 minutes. Go on, say what you wanted to say, then I'm going to go to Janelle.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, so basically the way I see it, the overall viewpoint I have is that within the black diaspora, whether you're in Africa, Brazil, America, wherever you are in the world, there are those who are trying to bring everyone together. There are those who don't want to be part of the group, and there are those who just don't know. Now, those who don't know, when you give them new information or you tell them about this and that, it's very alien and it's very strange to them. So obviously they're going to look at it and think, nah, that's not me. That's not how I've grown up. That's not my life experience. Now, those that know and are trying to get everyone together and unite everyone together, they, in certain aspects, are ignorant of what different groups have gone through. Now, I can understand where the ADOS group comes from, because before Columbus went to America, there were Black people there. There had been Black people in the Incan civilization, the Mayan civilization, the Aztecs, etc., etc. There were Black Native Americans. Now, I can understand why anyone who traces their roots back to those group of Africans that went there before Columbus, I can understand why they might want to identify themselves and say, this is our own group, because now they see that because of Black Lives Matter, everything's starting to coalesce, and we're either forming new identities or we're discovering old identities, and everything's starting to make sense. Now, this is natural. I think Europeans have gone through this, Asians have gone through this, and we're going to go through it. The main thing that we're now facing is the fact that everyone is splintered, and we're all trying to get back together or try to come to some sort of an understanding. I think
For some reason he's cut off. Janelle, because he's cut off. You gonna go next, please?
Right. I agree with Abraham to some extent, and some of what I wanted to say, like he said, but I was born in Trinidad. I grew up in Trinidad, and growing up in the Caribbean, or in America, because we forget that, yes, we say Black Americans, but in addition to those who would have been brought there via slavery and go through the slavery process and be emancipated from mainland America, you also have a lot of immigrants from the Caribbean to America, right? That make up that culture. So our culture in the Caribbean, we learn about our history. Again, we may not know the full ins and outs of the tribal traditions, etc., but we have I would say a good rooting, yeah, in terms of our educational system. The first 3 years of secondary school, you learn your history. So in terms of our culture, I think we are more open and we are more accepting Caribbeans of, the diverse nature of Black people across the world. I think that there is similar experiences for America and UK, not so much, because in America and within the UK, and I'll bundle you both together, you do not get a strong grounding of your history pre-slavery. You get a history close to emancipation, and in America, all their constitutional and governmental and all the tick boxes thing, you get that. But you don't get Amerindian history, you don't get Black Afro history, you don't get Indian history, you don't get Chinese history. In the Caribbean, we get that. We learn it from Bering Strait, all the different tribes, the Mayan, the Aztecs, the Caribs, the Arawaks, you learn all that. You learn the African tribes, you learn the European history, you learn how the Treaty of Tordesillas and how all of that, you learn everything based on a timeline. So you get a better understanding of the diversification of Black people across the globe. I think that the issue about segregating or dismissing elements of our culture is very divisive. And I think there's a lack of understanding from mainland African individuals who may not have an understanding of that history. You know it face value, but you don't understand You don't understand it. Like there's always the statement, everyone comes from Africa. Yes, we understand that. But you cannot ask somebody to negate other elements of their culture.
No, that's not what we're saying.
Elements. Hold on,
That's not what we're
sir.
saying.
Hold on, sir. Hold on. There are other elements that combine. As a Caribbean person did, I have so many different cultures. Obviously, by my skin, you could see what the dominant one is. But there are so many elements that you can't negate what makes up your culture. And if we do that, if we say, well, okay, Afro-American, they're this or they're that, or they want to identify this, if they're doing their due diligence and they're finding themselves and they're going through the evolution of building their identities, as ex-slaves, our identity was taken away from us. You were not allowed, like the Indian and the Chinese and the Syrians, indentured laborers, you were not allowed to keep your language, your culture. You were not allowed to carry down your tradition. You understand? And that is what happened. So for those who are from the mainland, you have the value and the benefit of elder wisdom that would have come down first-hand generation.
100%.
You have to now find third, fourth, fifth, hand knowledge. So it's a process, but we cannot be dismissive. I think that we have to give compassion and leeway for the fact that we're on different journeys and we have been separated, but we're all still one. And we're not.
Nelson, can I go to you next, and then I'm going to go to you, Stefan. Go on, Nelson.
I'm listening to you guys talk. Look, listen. Trying to look at someone's struggle. I really hate this. I identify myself as this, I identify myself as that, blah blah blah. But this is the world that we're living in currently, anyway. But trying to. What that person is basically saying is, I come from a certain area, we've experienced certain things, I'm from a certain group, and therefore I've experienced different things. Okay, I can relate to that. I can relate to that because I've experienced certain things that most Black people here, for example, haven't experienced. So obviously, is it right what he's saying? Is that the right way to go? What I'm saying is just like, we keep saying, okay, you shouldn't be doing this or you shouldn't be thinking like that. But why? This idea of unity, who's deciding that we should all be united in a way of thinking? What's actually, I'm trying to understand what's actually going on here, because we should all be united under one cause. But when we look at the diaspora, we look at everyone has gone through different types of struggles. So the people that lived during the Jim Crow era, it's not exactly the same people that lived after that. They didn't experience the same struggles, and it was not the same thing. So, for example, the racism I experienced, okay, I haven't met anyone here apart unless you've lived there for quite a while, maybe back in the days, that probably mirrored that experience. But not every Black person has gone through the exact same thing. So as much as I don't agree with him, at the same time, who are we to decide what that person thinks is right or wrong? He feels strongly about that. So he feels that there should be a separation between Black people due to his experiences. Now, who are we to turn around and say, okay, he's wrong? And if you're saying he's wrong, okay, what made you the judge of it? Because different Black people feel differently about different things. So what's unifying us? What's this standard that we all supposed to be adhering to? Skin color?
I'm gonna go to Karen, then I'm gonna go to Shakara afterwards. All right.
A lot of people here are invested in the mainstream media, and the mainstream media has an agenda. And no matter which way you look at it, and a lot of popular culture has an agenda here to keep us at a certain level of misinformed, disenfranchised. So if people are looking at the
Look in the
newspapers on
face,
a
sorry.
daily basis, if people are watching football
I
on a
don't know.
daily basis,
Look on the floor.
if people are engaging with the mainstream, they are going to pick up the mindset, the common mindset that the mainstream is trying to relay, and that is to treat brown and black people in a subordinate condition. So
Because we're allowed it to. Because we're allowed it to happen. Because we're allowed it to happen.
Oh no,
That's
I switch
simple.
off from the media, so I don't see all that because I was taught media and culture, so I can read and look at things with a discerning eye. But I meet some of our
Talking the same thing every single week. We're going to
when
talk
I
the same
do
thing.
speak to them, I get the impression that they have been interpolated by the mainstream media, why they behave in that way, why they treat each other in that way, because they are reading this media from a mindset of I'm one of the collective. You're never one of the collective in this scenario. So therefore, it's like it's really important that people as well at an adult age must choose what they want to engage in and choose what they want to learn per se. So I mean, whereas someone was saying they don't know nothing about the Incas and they don't know nothing about all the tribes of the South Americas, that's because you chose not to go and find out your own history. Do you know what I mean? And now that you've heard about these things and you realize you don't know, it's your job and you to go out and make sure that you know the truth of your own existence, isn't it? So
Okay, I'm going to go to Shakara, please.
First of all, thank you for this conversation. This platform is the first time I'm joining, so thanks, appreciate it. Big up Sister Kareen, long time no see, and all these things.
Shakara,
Yes.
how are you?
Yeah, so yeah, I can't complain. All right, couple things here. The first thing is that to the brother that was talking about why the people then from the Caribbean I chat about Ashe and all them something there. You need to know, my brother, that as far as I'm an African from the Caribbean, specifically Jamaica and Antigua, and we have our African spiritual retentions that are very much alive, even though they have been attacked, as acts of law. For example, things like Obia are still banned in the Caribbean, but we never needed to hear from brothers and sisters who were born in Nigeria and speak Yoruba fluently to know about Ashe, because we have things like the Shango tradition in various parts of the Caribbean, and so this is not new to I. Yes, many of us have connected with brothers and sisters on the continent and reaffirmed and heightened our knowledge and our involvement in our spiritual systems, but just as much as there are Africans in the Caribbean who are practicing African spirituality, we don't want to give the impression that everybody on the continent has thrown it away either. That's false. And
It's not against Caribbeans.
Hold on.
Not Caribbeans though.
It's a
It's not.
false.
It wasn't Caribbeans, brother. It wasn't nothing to get Caribbeans. That's the
No,
thing.
I'm saying Africans from the diaspora in general. I'm speaking for
Okay.
Caribbean. But even in the Americas, we have things like in the United States of America, we have things like hoodoo and various expressions of the Ifa tradition that have been preserved. So I'm just saying that our ancestors preserved that and handed it down. But brothers and sisters on the continent, we don't want to give the impression that everybody on the continent dash with their own tradition and start worship Jesus and Allah. That's not the case. There are many people on the continent who still traditions. All right. What's it called? So ban this witchcraft talk. But on what you say? I said ban this witchcraft talk. Witchcraft.
Benjamin, can I ask you a question?
One second. Witchcraft. You may.
Okay. May I?
Let me finish my statement.
I'll let you finish, but may I ask you a question?
Yes, you may. Let me finish my statement.
Okay.
Let me finish.
Oh, come on. Before you start, I want to ask you a simple question.
No, I'm not starting, but I'm finishing. So let me finish my statement. It'll be a sentence, and then you can ask a question. Thank you very much. What's it called? Why I'm saying ban this witchcraft talk is that witchcraft is a colonial depiction, a colonial characterization of our indigenous spiritual systems. So we don't use witchcraft to describe African spiritual systems any more than we would use it to describe any tradition in Catholicism or Sunni.
But we do in Nigeria, brother. So no,
listen,
but brother, we use witchcraft in Nigeria.
You need to know the you're talking about. I'm going to ask you one thing. Have you ever lived in Africa?
No. I've been, but I've never lived there.
You've been?
Yes.
So you know nothing about witchcraft. Well, I know something because I was born in a village.
But
No, you can't tell him that. You can't tell him that. No, I can defend him on that one. You can't tell him that. You can't. No, but you can't tell someone what they know and don't know. No.
Guys, one at a time. One at a time.
or else I'm going to start muting people.
Otherwise, I can't hear you.
Guys, I'm not. If I'm being disrespectful, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for me to disrespect. My apologies.
You know that you just reinforced a massive colonial trope. You're telling me, as an African from the Caribbean, that if I have not lived in Africa, I don't know about witchcraft. Why? Because Africa is the only place that witchcraft is supposed to exist. This is what you're telling me at the moment.
No.
One second. Sorry, I'm an African, descendant of Africans enslaved in the Caribbean. Do you think, that there's a complete whiteout of our spiritual traditions in Jamaica, for example? Is that what you think? And if that's not the case, why do you think I need to have gone to Africa or lived in Africa to know something about the spiritual traditions of my ancestors? Why is that your assumption? Does that even make sense? My ancestors are Yoruba. My ancestors are Ashanti. My ancestors are Kikongo. My ancestors are Igbo. Yes, my ancestors are Ijao. My ancestors are Ewe. My ancestors are Ga. Yes, I have many ancestors who brought their traditions. I don't need to have gone to the continent. It's good to go to the continent, but it's not a must in order for me to know about my ancestral traditions. Let's get that straight.
I agree with you 100% because when I actually even mentioned the whole, because I bring this topic up, so I have to express on this, but I agree with you 100%. And the reason why I actually had to interject there, because I don't believe anybody can tell anybody their views or their personal beliefs. So you can't tell somebody that because they haven't gone somewhere, they don't know about something. That's not the case. The only thing that I was saying when I actually bring this topic up is that I've noticed how there's a whole movement of people who actually are into juju, into witchcraft, into all of this stuff, into dark arts and black magic. And the thing is, what it is that a lot of the almost none of them I've seen are directly from Africa. And I wasn't actually talking about Caribbean. Most people who are actually I've seen who are into it, ironically, are from the UK or from America.
Are you from Nigeria?
Yes, I'm directly from Nigeria.
And
I've been back a few times.
Are you familiar with the fact that the Oshun festival takes place every August in Nigeria, in Yoruba land?
Yeah,
okay. So there are evidently brothers and sisters in Nigeria who are still practicing their indigenous spiritual systems.
Right. I'm not saying it isn't.
So, and I'm sure none of those people refer to what they're practicing as witchcraft. I'm very confident about that fact. Yeah, witchcraft is a colonial label. You're saying that I need to have been to Africa. One second. You're saying to me I need to have been to Africa to understand the thing, as though Africa was not. One second. No. I'm not saying you, my brother. But it was said, as though Nigeria was not colonized. The fact that brothers and sisters on the continent refer to their indigenous spiritual systems as witchcraft is for the same reason that we do it in the Caribbean. It's colonization. It's a colonial depiction. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay, but the thing is,
nobody was calling Ifa and Ordinani, and Vudan witchcraft before the white man got there. Nobody was doing
Look, it's simple. Hold on. It's simple. Let me break down the belief system. Just break down the belief system.
If
it's not witchcraft, then
another time. But I come on
exactly
the next thing.
Wait.
Otherwise, we're going to run in circles.
The thing is, I was saying,
we ran in circles.
Hold on.
We're in circles. No,
can I say something?
Guys.
Can I say something? Because I haven't been able to express
Stefan,
something.
and then you go to Spyro, please, because no one can't hear anything. I can't. Go on. Stefan, go on.
Guys, I think it's necessary we go around circles here. We are actually going around circles.
I was actually going to talk about the ADOS thing, very
goodness me.
I don't want to hog the mic.
Rachel, I got a meeting in 10 minutes. So I just want to say, guys, it's been a pleasure talking to you a lot. Good conversation as usual. Unfortunately, I got to let you go. Yeah. Once again, blessings and respect.
Bless.
Take care, man.
All right.
Yeah. No, I hate when a guy has to leave when we're finishing on the particular topic, to be honest. But the only thing that I wanted to say on that is that what I've actually noticed is the thing is, growing up in Nigeria, I understand what you're saying, that the thing is, the term witchcraft itself, even when we use it in Nigeria, is because it's been colonized, and that's what you're trying to say. And what I was saying that, because the thing is, I'm not going to dispute that or not, but what I was saying is this: growing up where I live and growing up in my tradition, it's like, for example, if let's say like you have someone in your household who has died through something mysterious. Now, in that sense, you might go to see a doctor. Do you understand? Now, in that sense, going to see a doctor, the doctor will tell you yeah, that you, the thing is, if you do it, once you actually open this certain things, you are going to experience what you understand. They will tell you you're using something, whatnot. Now, in my tribe, in my homeland, my mother, and the thing is, you only go to those certain things when something serious has actually happened, that you actually will have to give about, let's say, like almost half of your wages, or you may have to sacrifice something in order to do that. So the thing is, because that actually is that's practiced, Juju has been there from time. So in that sense, it's one of the ones people of Nigeria, you generally don't use that. Now, what I'm saying is that if you look at all the musics, like let's say for like one of my, like I like the tune Dimensions that just come out with Skepta in that, and I love that tune. But if you look at the video, what I'm saying is that video, when the video comes on, I'm just praise. Mom says, the thing is, she says, if you know the ritual that they're actually doing there. Like, and the thing is, the first fight, when you see them they're lining up all in red, basically like the firing squad. Then you see the two people with the marks on it. If you know about tribal marks, you understand that every mark means something different, and the marks that they actually have are not of the spiritual, of the positive realm. They're from the negative. So in that sense, that is why. So what I'm saying is, whether the term Juju has been colonized, which one have been colonized or not. Though what I'm saying is that the Western world now and the world generally has now kind of latched onto that thing and using that as Black empowerment, and that is actually not necessarily our culture. That is a part of the culture, but it's not actually something that's a good part of the culture.
I'm going to quickly say something. Alvin said, when Jesus turned water into wine, what would you call that? Is that not a ritual?
Yeah.
Juju, it's
story.
Juju.
Yeah, that's not ritual.
No, it's a ritual. It was a ritual. You can't ritual. The thing is,
I can explain why it was not a ritual, but I mean, it's up to you. But it's not a ritual because it was a miracle. That's it.
Okay. So
that's it.
Okay. Hey, man, you made me just skip my alcohol. Stop saying that kind of thing, man.
No, you know what? That's fine. A miracle. Nice.
This actually relates.
A lot of miracles happen in Nigeria. A lot of times, to be honest, it's true. It was a miracle. A lot of miracles.
Listen.
So you know what's the difference between ritual and miracle?
That's what I'm trying to say. You have to define things.
So go on then, define it. What's the difference?
All right, let's have a look. What the definition of ritual is and what the definition of a miracle is. A religious or solemn ceremony consisting of a series of actions performed according to a prescribed order. That's a ritual.
Hello.
Yes.
A miracle is when the natural laws or something happens that defies the natural laws.
Yes.
That's a miracle.
So let me ask you a question. You see when Moses got to Pharaoh.
Well, we're going to Moses now.
I want to ask you a question.
You jumped way back there, man.
Yeah, that's fine, but it doesn't matter. It's still miracles, right? And,
no. Hold on. Wait,
one day for man is 1,000. Sorry, one day
let me just
man, right? So it don't matter really and truly. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter really and truly what time zone we're there now.
Okay,
right. So the reality is, one second. I want to ask you a question. You see when Moses go in front of Pharaoh and throw down the rod. All on there and throw down the rod and turn all of the Red Sea red with blood and all them something there and split the Red Sea and all them something there. Yeah, was that ritual or was that miracle?
Let me clear this up.
So can I answer that? Because the thing is, we jumped from Christ all the way to Moses. Yeah. Okay. All that happened.
God wasn't performing miracles in Moses' time.
No. Can I get a word in, mate? Listen, it's nice and simple. Now that we've defined, are we in agreement that a ritual is not the same as a miracle?
No.
We're not.
No.
Should I read out the definition of a ritual again?
You can. No, because the problem with the definition is the problem with the definitions is that one is describing process and one is describing results. Yeah. They're not different things, right?
So you're telling me so you're telling me that a ritual
contain a series of miracles.
No. That listen, we're making the assumption that a ritual leads to a miracle.
No,
we're not.
The first thing, you have a ritual, which is defined in a different way from a miracle. A ritual is different from a miracle. You can't say that a ritual leads to a miracle.
Good point. So then let's break it down then. Moses, he received instructions, yes, from the God of Abraham. Not true. Yeah. So he wasn't just acting arbitrarily. He received instructions about particular acts to perform to achieve and caused certain results. The acts that he performed resulted in the miracles. Are the acts that he performed that resulted in the miracles rituals or not? They were prescribed acts, were they not? So are they rituals? Can we consider them rituals? When he lifted the rod and threw down the rod, was that a miracle?
It did not. There was no prescribed acts. There was no.
Yes, they
prescribed
were.
acts at
He
all.
received instructions from God. So the prescription came from the Most High, and he performed the prescription, and the miracle resulted.
Listen, when I'm talking, please let me finish my sentence, and then you can come back.
I apologize, my brother. Go ahead.
Because otherwise, you're gonna just keep hugging the mic, bro. If that's
As
what you
long as
want,
he
then
had
cool,
his
then we're
magic
not gonna have
wand,
a
he could have done it.
conversation.
Like,
okay, listen. There was nothing ritualistic. The Jews don't part the Red Sea every single year. All they do, let me tell you something. This is what happened, right? They were under persecutions by the Egyptians, and God said, "Trust me. I've got everything. I'll sort it out." Yeah.
Yes.
All you got to do is do this, and then boom, the Red Sea parted. That was God acting. That was not.
Listen,
let me tell you something.
Does God still perform miracles?
Hold on, wait. Let me just finish it. Yeah. Now, to perform, if you perform a ritual every single year, you should be able to part the Red Sea every single year. If that's the case. A ritual is not the same thing as a miracle.
All right. Okay.
Let's
take your point. Let's take your point. Let's take my brother. So let's take your point. Yeah. Do you pray, my brother? Nelson, do you pray?
Yeah.
Does God still perform? Does God still perform miracles?
Does God still perform miracles?
Yes.
I haven't seen a miracle yet, mate, but I do pray. Yeah.
But I'm not asking if you've seen a miracle. According to your spiritual understanding, does God still perform miracles, or are miracles done?
God created everything you see and are. Of course, He can create miracles if He wants to.
Does God still perform miracles?
He's asking you a question. Belief.
Yeah, I'm sure He does. Yeah, I'm sure He
there
does.
a relationship?
I'm not God to know that.
No, you don't have to be God, my brother. You've got a book, yeah, of spiritual understanding, right? So based upon that, you should be able to answer that question. Yeah. Is praying a ritual?
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Praying not a ritual.
Yes.
Praying is not ritual. No. Praying is a form of communication between.
Nelson, what you said was right.
Let me answer.
You're fumbling, man. You guys fumbling.
Your ritual and miracle thing.
Let me answer it, man.
How you said first was right. How you said first was right. But what you said first about the miracle and the ritual between the Moses part and the sea. I'm saying I understood that analogy. That was correct, because the thing is they don't part the Red Sea every year.
A ritual is not miracle.
Praying is a ritual, because praying in terms of your analogy. Praying is something that you do consistently every time in the aim to get a result. So praying is a ritual.
No, wrong.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Prayer is a form of communication between humans and God.
That's it. It's still a ritual.
No, it's not ritual. A ritual is some. Let me tell you what ritual
on your
is.
religion. Because if you're
Do you celebrate Easter, my brother? Do you celebrate Easter?
Wait. Me going to mass every
process. You go through the prayer a specific way. So there is a process to it. But not everyone or in every religion has a process.
Praise and worship.
Listen. Me going to oh my days, man. Me going to mass every yeah, that's a ritual.
And praying is also the ritual as well.
But the
praying
thing
is a ritualistic act. Praying
is
a ritualistic act. No matter how
ritual. Okay. A ritualistic act. A ritual is something that you do consistently in a specific order. When I'm at home, when I pray to God by myself, I'm not reciting the same prayers that I do every single Sunday.
Doesn't make a difference.
Hold on.
It doesn't make a difference.
Yes, it does.
The thing is, no matter whether. Okay, look at this. You're praying like that, yeah. But if you're Muslim, and you,
I'm not Muslim. I'm not
Muslim. I'm not saying that you're Muslim. I'm saying if you are Muslim, but I'm saying
I am not Muslim. I don't know about Muslim. If I ask you about African spirituality, are you going to start answering questions?
Bro, I'm saying we're talking about praying. You pray in Muslims.
No, the definition.
Jews pray. No, and Christians pray. No. We're talking about praying. Praying is a religious act. I'm saying Muslims who pray. Muslims pray on a regular basis. Every single time they pray, they always perform the same thing. I'm telling you this because, as I told you, remember the last time we spoke?
My brother, one question.
Let's go to
one question. Do you recite Do you recite the Lord's Prayer?
All right, I'm gonna mute whoever's gonna speak next because I'm just gonna cut in. Thank you.
Definitely.
Right.
You guys
Go on,
acting
go
like
on,
a
go ahead,
set of
go
school
ahead.
children. Flipping hell.
Go ahead. What was that? What was that? What was that?
Right. A few people want to say stuff as well. Abraham, I've got Sean wants to say something. I think it was Janelle, Kathy. I'm just going to make the floor a little bit more open as well. So I'm
just
going to,
need-
we've got half an hour left. I'm going to give it half an hour. So I'm going to give you all, I'm timing you. Abraham, you've got 1 minute to get your.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, quickly. Prayer ritual. To me, a prayer is something you can do anytime. It doesn't matter when or where. Whereas a ritual is something that has a specific time and a specific order to it. It's just that simple. Whereas
But you know, in Islam, you pray at a
something,
certain time.
yeah. So yeah, okay, yeah, I know. For Muslims, they tend to have theirs a bit more ritualistic than the Christians do, because as a Christian, you can choose when and how you want to pray, whereas a Muslim, you have to do it at certain times of the day. That's just the way the two religions differ. Somebody also said something about Jews earlier on, and this was something that I looked into a little while back. Jews aren't a race. Judaism is a religion. People shouldn't confuse that ever, because there are Black Jews in Ethiopia and in southern parts of Africa. There are also Hasidic Jews and various other types of Jews. So Judaism is actually a religion. And whenever people sort of talk about Moses and Egypt and all of this stuff, I just think, no, some of that doesn't make sense historically. Yeah, that's my point.
Okay, right. So next person, Sean, please.
Yeah, I also took offense to the brothers' beliefs being labeled as witchcraft, because if we're going to call that witchcraft, what are we going to call people that took the Bible and taught Black people that they were cursed?
Exactly.
What are you going to say about a religion that took Black people in in hardcore plantation slavery and taught them a religion that made them believe that they should be happy to be in that condition? I'm not talking about the Bible, I'm talking about the religion. So you can't be talking around calling people's religions beliefs witchcraft, where, especially if you're a Christian. That's to me, that's like, you need to go and check what you believe first before you start calling other people's beliefs witchcraft. Because I would rather follow that religion than a religion that literally enslaved my ancestors and bamboozled them and made them believe that they were subservient and believed that white people were superior. Because the image of white Jesus was to subconsciously imprint in the mind of a Black man that God is white. That was the root of the Jesus concept, which is the religious concept. The white image of Christ. It's a religious concept that teaches Black people that white people are superior and that God is actually white. I would rather follow a belief that comes from my ancestral homeland than a belief that comes from my enemy. So to be banding around witchcraft for ancestral beliefs, I'm quite shocked that I've seen that from people from the continent, to be honest. Now, I'm not saying there's not disagreeable and agreeable acts. I understand that within any belief system, there's people that use disagreeable omens and agreeable omens. I get it. But even under that, even if they are doing that, that's better than following Christianity, as far as I can say, or Islam. That's my view on it.
Okay, all right. So Spyro next, please, and then I'll go back to Nelson, and then I'm going to go back to Shakura. Go on. Actually, sorry, Kathy. I think Kathy and Janelle wanted to say something. I'm very sorry. Janelle, are you there? Okay, she's not there. Okay. Spyro, you wanted to say so. Oh, sorry, Francis. He hasn't even said one thing tonight. So I'm going to go to Francis next because he hasn't said one thing. Go on, Samuel. Samuel, hello. Okay,
Hey.
Yeah, go on. Say what you wanted to say.
All right. First of all, for Jean that was just speaking, he doesn't really know what he's talking about. For instance, you got to stop talking about Christians like you know Christians And if you want to beef with somebody, you really need to beef with Islam. They've been stealing our people and enslaving them and doing them dirty from forever to this day right now. What Christians you know got black slaves right now? That's the first thing. Second thing, you need to look at the Orthodox Church. The Orthodox Church, whether Ethiopian, Armenian, Greek, Russian, they still worship the Black Madonna and the Black Christ. So don't ever get that straight. Speak what you know. Speak what you know. And first of all, what I really wanted to talk to, and I wish Rachel would have brought this Mississippi country ass bumpkin on right now so I could speak to him directly, because everything he was saying was highly disrespectful. First of all, he could never come to New York and live in New York talking like that, because you know how many black people from New York, you feeling me, that came from the South, done mixed with us from the West Indies, from Africa. Like, he don't know what he's talking about. And not only did they mix, they done interbreeded and had kids. So now you disrespecting a whole bunch of kids because you talking about just because somebody ain't pick cotton. My dude, you never pick cotton. You ain't live up under no, you just as young as me. You ain't never live under no Jim Crow. So I wish that country ass bumpkin was on here right now. And here's a certain thing I gotta say. You got assholes from Africa and from America. You got Americans that be like, I'm not an African, and da 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 da. And then you got Africans who be like, trust me, and I could tell you this, Nigerian women in New York that be owning these hair braiding stores, they look down upon Black American women. They do. Straight live. You feeling me? I can tell you that. Now, again, you got like my sisters done went to South Africa, and the South Africans is welcoming them back home. You feeling me? So that it all depends on who you dealing with when it come to that. You got dumbass Africans and you got dumbass Americans. You feeling me? So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you.
I'm gonna mute myself now.
I appreciate your contribution. Right, I'm gonna go to Janelle. You wanted to say something.
Someone take my place. I'll come back in a minute.
Okay. So Moneybags has not said one thing for the whole night. I haven't seen him say one word.
I wanted to say something for a little while, like something in relation to Janelle. Like, I'm kind of trying to.
Is it all right if Moneybags says he hasn't actually spoken for the whole night? Not one word. Go on, and then I can let you in after that. Go on, Michael.
Oh, wow, jeez, a lot of people saying a lot of things, and yeah, some I can take some points on and kind of agree to some to disagree. But I know I heard someone say, well, we're all different in all aspects of life and whatnot and all of that stuff. But don't we still need to come together as a collective? The Jewish people did after Holocaust. They came together. It didn't matter whether they were into diamonds, golds, whatever they believed in. They made sure they came back together. That no one can't imagine. No one can't say nothing about the Jewish people. Not one person, because you get shut down. Because that's the way they've got it. Us, I just find that we're kind of like monolithic. We all have different ideas and like different things that we want, but unity is always at the forefront for me anyway. Doesn't matter whether you're African, American, whatever. Wouldn't it be nice if we just merge everything together and treat each other with some type of respect, whether you agree with them or disagree, whatever. Let's just keep that going. And at least we might just change something. That's just my spin anyway.
All right, Spyro, you wanted to say something. Go on.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to touch on what Janelle said a little while ago, and I think she made a valid point, because I do believe that we, to be honest, I would say we Africans, but I would say actually from a lot of countries, I'll say from the UK as well, we're not really taught the Black history that we should be, because I went out there to find certain things for myself. And a lot of things that she just mentioned in that little snippet that she spoke just blew my mind, because I didn't know that. And I think more people, especially if that's the level of education you get out in the Caribbean, more people should like start doing little classes to educate people about that, because this is where the whole point of where the other guy who left earlier on was trying to say that a lot of Africans look down on people. And as I think Francis says, and I actually agree with everything he said with that in America, it's not only just America, a lot of Nigerian women, but a lot of Nigerian men, they look down on Black people. And the reason why is because they actually see it as as he was saying, they have his mentality as African, from you come out of Africa, you're lost. And this comes down to different things, like down to names, because people have weird names and they don't know the reasons of the whole point of what names means. And then it's down to what I said about the whole juju and the witchcraft, because people are doing things and you're using dark arts and dark magic that people don't even know. Now, what I was trying to express in that sense is, I was saying, it's down to, I agree, it's weird because me and Francis clashed on the last time we met, but actually this time I agree 100%, because my mum's church is a White Garment Church, which is an old unorthodox church. And that's what I was saying, that like there's certain things where at the end of the year, you would pray into an egg, and you would pray about all of your negative energy and all of those things, and you would take it out of the church, and you would drive it and throw it somewhere away from your house, and don't look back on it, the same way in the Bible it said back. Now, I remember I was telling my friend one of this when I was younger, and he was saying, what kind of juju does your mom's church use, man? These Nigerian churches use bare weird stuff. When I actually looked at it, it's an old thing from nunneries that a lot of nunneries actually do, and it's because the eggs actually represent the rebirth of the cycle. So a lot of these other cultures use these things, and this is what I was saying. So when people see certain things, like in my mother's church, they would see that as juju or witchcraft, but then that actually is just our culture. Then when I actually see certain things that actually is demonic, and I'm saying that people don't actually know, because we're not taught our culture properly, they are actually dealing with deep demonic stuff and calling dark entities into them and believing that it's our culture. And this is what I meant when I said about it's actually a lot of people who are not from Africa who do it, because it's that they're trying to understand our culture. And I wanted to touch on what the other guy said about the Christianity, because as Francis said, yes, in my mother's church, actually, Jesus is Black, and his name is not Jesus, his name was Yeshua. Yeah, and the thing is, his name was the name of God, yeah, is Yahweh, and it was actually pronounced with 4 consonants, YHWH. Yeah, and then actually the way even the name Jesus got turned over through history is because when the name got turned from English to Latin, or there's no Y in Latin, so they turned around and actually made the J, yeah, and the letter J actually is pronounced as E. So actually they were saying Ishua. So, and then after a while, the J over time just turned around and actually just became J, and they became Joshua. Then actually they made it Isos and Jesus, and this is how it came. And the same thing with Yahweh is actually after a while they turned around and put Yahweh, they turned the Y to the J, and it was Yahweh or whatnot. Then after there was no W, they changed the W to a V, so it was Eova. You understand? But that still sounds very African or kind of tribal, Eova. So that's why they turned around and changed it. And after a while, the I became a J, so it's Jehovah. Then it became Jehovah. And this is how things actually turned around and became whitewashed. But in my mother's church, they have a Black. My daughter goes to a Christian school in Peckham in South London, and it's not a Black school. But if you go into the church, if you go into the school, directly on the front, I'm actually going to send it into the group so you can see it. Directly on the front, there's a cross, and it's got different pictures of Jesus and the disciples, and they're all Black. If you go to real Christians, real things, they actually don't turn around and use it the way that we actually turn around and use it. But there's a lot of things that have been changed. So we actually need to go back to our history so we can understand things. And that's actually where it is, because I'm actually scared of a lot of people tarot reading. And that's what I actually meant, because a lot of people are now tarot reading, and that's actually dabbling in skills that you don't know from the dark arts, and now transferring it and mixing it with our heritage, which actually isn't our heritage. It's part of something that those people may do.
Mm-hmm. In that part, I agree, because of when people try to do a tarot reading, I've had one person try to tarot read me, or 2, sorry, and what I did is, before they did it, I prayed and I said to God, because I don't believe in all this, I prayed to God and I just basically said, protect me from them.
Rachel, do you mind? Can I come back on what Francis said? Is that okay? Quickly.
Okay,
hold on.
It won't be long. I won't take long. It just literally I just want to clarify something. First of all, I spoke about Christianity, not the Bible. So I'm very well. I made a distinction. And this book, I understand that the Bible is all the main characters in the Bible would be considered black by today's standards. I'm not talking about the Bible. I'm talking about the misinterpreting of scriptures by Christians. And on this planet Earth, most black people are following either the Catholic Church or denominations which are offshoots from the Roman Catholic Church. So it's not. I understand that there's some black people that worship a black Jesus, etc., etc. I'm talking about the mainstream religion that most black people are following, which is the Catholic Church. More black people follow the Catholic Church than any other Christian denomination, and that's my point. That church, that belief system, was instrumental in enslaving black people and teaching black people that we were inferior and that white people were superior. That's a fact.
No, it's not.
That's a historical fact.
No,
hold on,
John. John, believe you me, I listen. Do you know what, Rachel? Yeah, why don't we have a religious debate? Because I'm sick and tired of hearing all these lies, made up stuff, ignorance.
Yeah, I don't know if
hold on, sir. Hold on. Let me just get this way then. From the black community, I'm happy to debate anyone, historically speaking, the spread of Christianity in Africa, from the 1st century onwards, all the Nubian kingdoms that have accepted Christianity. I'm happy to debate all of that, even down to this idea that Jesus is white and all this nonsense. Hold on, John, hold on. No. What you're talking about is the spread of Christianity and you're not going against the Bible.
I was specific. I said a form of Christianity.
A form of Christianity.
Specific.
I said
a bastard. I said a bastard. That's why I said they misinterpreted the scripture.
Okay,
John, it's a bastardization of the original message.
Bro, I heard it all. Trust me, I heard it all before. I'm happy to debate anyone on it. Yeah. But this idea that somehow things were corrupted when the original scriptures are there, the entire history is extremely well documented. You can go back and see it for yourself. To me, it's just an excuse to not follow Christianity. Fine. If that's the case, then fine. Say that. But the thing is, trying to, trying to basically corrupt something, trying to make it look like it was corrupted, it was, this is not really real, when everything, all the evidence is there from the very beginning. To me, I just find that, nah, I don't actually agree with it. So I'm happy to have a debate with anyone so we can actually get to the bottom of it and we can actually use evidence. I'm happy to bring in the books. We can actually look into it properly. This is what I'm happy to do, because all this, I don't agree with talking about Christianity in that sense. Let's deal with the facts.
Okay, Shakira, have you got anything to answer to that?
Yeah, I don't mind going to the religious debate. I think the brother is concerned about misrepresentations of Christianity. I think that it's important to note that no group of spiritual traditions have been more misrepresented than African spiritual traditions, none whatsoever. And the majority of the time, the people that are responsible for those misrepresentations have been of the Abrahamic religions, not just Christianity, but including Christianity. I come from countries whereby African spiritual traditions were banned as an act of law, and people that practiced them were persecuted against, killed in masses, by people that claim to be Christians, all right? And they misrepresented those traditions. So I'm more than willing to defend African spiritual traditions from that kind of misrepresentation. I did want to make a point, though, about the conversation to do with the Black American thing. And I think that I have some experience with these people. And it's important to note for me, from my perspective, that a number of different groups have come up in the last few years. Not that they didn't exist before, but they've developed prominence, and so these are people that are Black Hebrews, not all groups of Black Hebrews, but some people that believe that they're Aboriginal, so they're original to the indigenous peoples of the Americas, majority or exclusively. Then you have the ADOS and the FBA, yeah, the American Descendants of Slavery and the Foundation of Black Americans. What unites all of these groups, yeah, and there's probably a couple others that are missing, right? But what unites all of these groups, yeah, is that they're vehemently anti-African. You check all of their rhetoric, yeah, and they seem to have a problem with the idea of Africanness and being African. They're hostile towards it. And what's interesting about that to me is that in order to be a Hebrew, or in order to be an indigenous person of the Americas, in order to be an American in general, you don't have to manifest. And by the way, this is not even limited to America. There are people from Jamaica that I've seen that are telling me about they're not African, they're Arawak, yeah, and all these things, right? You know what I'm saying? And so you don't have to be hostile towards African identity to affirm any of these other identities, but for some reason these people seem to be, and that manifests in a political trajectory that seeks to align with the American empire. And I'll give you an example of the contradiction here. For example, we can malign and denigrate Haitian immigrants, yeah, and spread information about the fact that they come to the United States of America and they rob resources, yeah, from Black Americans supposedly. Okay, we can have a position on that, and to some extent there is some truth to that because of how the American government operates. But if you're going to be consistent and fair and just, and you're going to critique Haitian immigrants for migrating to the United States and sucking up resources, it would also be consistent and make sense to have a critique of the American government and its destruction of the Haitian economy that results in the migration of people from Haiti to the United States of America. None of these groups seem to be able to do that. None of these groups seem to be able to condemn and challenge the policies of the American government in Haiti, and that have been long-standing and well documented for over a century, beginning in the 19 teens, whereby the American military invaded and occupied Haiti for nearly 2 decades. Yes, the American government has been involved in Haiti from that time until now. More recently, it has contributed to the kidnapping of one of Haiti's presidents twice since the 90s. Yes, one president twice since the 90s. So when I see dynamics like that, what I interpret from this is a desire to reject Africanness. And that relates even to this religious conversation right about now, because this is not a new dynamic. Many of us over the years, because we've been indoctrinated into anti-African sensibilities, many of us have rejected our Africanness and said, may I have look at Indian in me. May have like a Chinese in me, and we celebrate the Chinese and the Indian more than everything else because we feel like it makes us superior to the rest of our African brothers and sisters. This is not a new dynamic. This is a new form, and somehow these people have managed to couch it in some element of pro-blackness. But it is anti-Africanness at its core. And so yes, there are brothers and sisters from the continent who think and speak negatively about Africans from the diaspora. But why are we from the diaspora acting as though we are immune from this dynamic, from these disuniting tendencies, when we know we have brothers and sisters among us, especially from the Caribbean and America, who are entirely denigrating when it comes to things African? Yeah, we're acting like this is a one-way street. No, this is the result of divide and conquer that has been imposed upon us by these very same colonial nations that we want to be allegiant to. And that is why people have affirmed African identity as a way to overcome those divisionary tactics and to unify and to develop and to progress along some course that enables us to challenge the unity of the West and America, because they act as a pan-European coalition.
Unification is impossible, mate.
Hey, can I go to Janelle quickly because she wanted to say something? Go on, Janelle.
Right. I wanted to touch on a few points. One, in terms of the witchcraft, I do agree that it is a colonial sort of term, because you do not hear Scottish Irish people talking about Judaism and witchcraft, you know, but this has to be said. So I do agree in that sense. However, with the rituals, every religion has rituals. Every single, whether you are Muslim, Christian, Hindu, you know, Buddhism, every single culture and religion has rituals, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. That's just the preservation of your culture and the dissemination of your wisdom and your knowledge through your collective. Okay. So I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't think we should demonize anybody for that. In terms of Christianity, a prayer is a ritual. God told us, Jesus told you how to pray. He said, don't pray like, you know, those in the synagogues and use all these words. He gave you a specific prayer to say and how to say it. That's a ritual. Now, if you look at the Old Testament is based on rituals. It's based on rituals. The entire Old Testament is based on rituals. The New Testament, and with the coming of the Holy Spirit, gave liberty. So then you have now the freedom to express yourself directly through the Holy Spirit. Okay, so to say that because you're Christian, you don't have rituals and to demean any other is not really accurate. I mean, it is, again, we are people.
I never said that.
People express in similar ways. It doesn't matter your religion. You have a ritual. You have a ritual. The next thing in terms of this division within the Black community, and I keep saying Black community because we have to understand one thing, right? We are collective in our struggle. Regardless of how we want to say, you know, this group, this, or, you know, people from the continent, this, or Caribbeans or Americans, at the end of the day, the white people or Chinese or what, they look at us and they see Black. They don't care where you're from before you open your mouth. They look at you and you're Black. Whether you're from Africa, you could be from, people say to me when I speak, oh, where in Jamaica? I say, well, where you from? Oh, Trinidad. Oh, where in Jamaica is that? Because they don't even care to know the geography. They just know it's Black. You understand?
That's
so
right.
My point is this: while we sort of debate and go back and forth about, you know, what divides us, you know, we are playing into that divide and conquer rule. Let us appreciate the fact we have different journeys. We cannot negate, and I think it is wrong for us to say to one particular group, forget that experience. You know, we're all from Africa. Forget all that happened there. Forget your evolution. So who you are, you know, forget your journey. We can't do that because we're people, we're humanity, and you know, our evolution and over a period of time is what builds our culture, what builds our identity. You must embrace it. You know, I think there should be more sharing of knowledge where there are knowledge gaps. If us in the West, in the Caribbean, in America, or even the British diaspora, if we don't understand certain things, why can't it be, well, you know, actually XYZ, add some knowledge. This is add some context. So then we can grow and we can, you know, piece together the puzzles, because we've been broken apart as a puzzle. We have been broken apart as a people, broken apart, and we could all accept that. Let us start piecing the puzzle together, even if we unite under one thing, you know. Okay. That's what white people do. You don't hear them say, well, actually, I'm Scandinavian, or actually, they don't care. They're
Okay.
white.
Okay, John, next, what do you want to say?
Yeah, I slightly disagree with you on the last point. I think that they do actually have quite. If you look at the Irish and the Scottish hate the English.
They don't count. An Irishman at one point was worse than a Black man. They don't count.
No,
Irish and Scots.
no,
Sheep.
They used to
I'm just
call the
saying that. I'm
Irish
just
the
saying
white
that.
black people.
Sheep. They will
Yeah.
tell you sheep had more value than Scottish people. That's
Well,
that is
that's my,
how
well,
Scottish view them.
yeah.
So they don't
So that's
count.
kind of my point. I'm saying that there was division, and one thing I think we need to just keep in mind with this talk of unity and stuff is that there's never been any ethnic group, not even any race or national nation state that's been unified ever. So this idea that black people are all going to come together under one banner is not been achieved by any group. What happens is you have a selection of a set of people that have come together and achieved things. That's what happens. So we're never all going to agree. Muslims are not going to convert to Christianity. Black Christians are not going to convert to Islam.
People have
It's not
come
going to
together.
happen.
They have come
Why
together.
do
Lord
we
of the
have to
Rings.
No.
convert?
But when
Lord
I
of the
mean
Rings, the Fellowship of the Rings.
That it's either one or the other. Why?
Fellowship of the Ring.
I'm talking about ideology-wise. I'm saying ideology-wise, it's not going to happen. But what can happen?
I accept that you think differently to me, and it's okay. I love you anyway. What's wrong with that?
Okay,
Wait a minute.
what I'm saying.
On that level, nah, that's not really true. Now,
That's not. Yeah. You have to have an ideology. You have to have an ideology in order to believe in something.
Yes,
People are
I do.
separated.
What was you saying, Francis? Sorry, I didn't catch what you were
That's
saying.
not true. I'm part of an organization, and in our organization, we are all spiritual peoples. So it's run by a Muslim man. He's the leader of this group, but Christians in there of different denominations. There are Israelites in the group. There are other peoples in the group, other what you want to call religions, but we all come together, and it's not really a problem. Because why? Because we all have a specific goal, all of us. So the whole religion thing, because there's people in there that obviously there's a lot of black Muslims in there, but we also have white Christians in there. You feeling me? Like, we not beefing with each other. It don't matter who's saying the prayer. The prayer is being said. You feeling me? We all got one goal. So, like, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't, your ethnic group, none of that, even with black people. See, this is the problem with black people. Black people think all black people are supposed to be one. No, it's not like that. It's not like that in Africa. Like I said, you could pick any country. You know how many wars are going on in Africa right now between black African peoples? All right. So it's not about that. If you find people that you have common goals, you will come together. You feeling me? Think of it like this. My enemy's enemy is my man. You feeling me? So these things do happen. And wait. Hold on. I got something else to say real quick. Now, Janelle mentioned something about the American education system. And if you want to talk about nowadays, that's right. But what she was saying, no, it's not really all that true. Because when I came up in the 80s, yeah, we had black teachers, but most of our teachers were actually white Jewish women. And they were teaching us black history. You feeling me? Like, we were learning about Africa. We were learning about stuff before black people got over on this side. You feeling me? And these was white Jewish women teaching us that. Obviously, you know, the black women, that they was going to do their thing nonetheless. You know what I mean? But I'm just trying to show you, nowadays, you ask these kids, you ask a 5th grader certain things that I learned in 3rd grade, and they ain't teach them that. You feeling me? So, and that's a whole other seminar, but that's the deliberate dumbing down of America, of the American school system. And so if you want to talk about nowadays, that's true, but that has not always been the case.
But it wasn't part of their formalized curriculum. It was them teaching you that. That wasn't part of the
Oh,
curriculum.
that was part of the curriculum back in the early 80s. I'm telling you, I went to a
I
public
was probably just being born. I'm an 82 child, so I don't know about that.
Oh yeah, you're young. By then I was in like what, first grade? Okay, so yeah. I mean, like in the early 80s, yeah, we were being taught our history in school. Yes. That is
Okay, right. Listen, we're running a little bit late here. So anyone got a few bits to say? You know what I mean?
Very
Okay.
quickly. I'll be
10
very
minutes,
quick.
go on.
Yeah, I'll be
I
very
mean,
quick.
cutting it off.
I do want to say that I agree with Sister Chanel, and it's not just because the Trini accent is probably my favorite in the Caribbean. It's what's it called? It's because there is truth that we need to understand our varying perspectives. Although I believe that I affirm without apology that there is commonality and oneness even in our varying perspectives. For example, yes, the African experience in Trinidad is different to the African experience in Jamaica, but there's a lot of similarity there, and it comes out of the same, you know, overall experience. At the same time, with the groups that I'm talking about, they tend to particularize the Black American experience and make it and subordinate all other Black experience to it. Yeah, I'll give you an example of what I mean. One of the founders of the ADOS movement is on record as saying that the Caribbean did not have chattel slavery in the same way that the USA did, right? Which is a ridiculous statement to make. Yeah, and they also deny what took place on the African continent in terms of colonization and the various wars that Europeans fought and the massacres, the genocide of King Leopold. They act like Africans nowhere else in the world went through these things. Yeah, and so that denial of the experience of other Africans is one of the reasons why a lot of people actually react with hostility. Yeah, you can't tell me that we never experienced anything in Jamaica after slavery when we have people like Sam Sharp and Paul Bogle, you know what I'm saying, and Marcus Garvey, who were always fighting against these enslavers and these colonizers. So I feel like, yes, it is correct that we seek to learn about each other's experience, but when there are groups of us who are actively denying and negating the experience of some of us, that makes it very difficult.
The problem with what Francis said to me is this idea that we can all come together under a common goal. The only problem with that is when it becomes practical, it will go wrong. So, for example, right now in this panel, we get along with each other, and we have the betterment of the Black community. But when it comes to practicality, we are going to differ. When it comes to family structure ideals, we are going to differ. When it comes to topics, day-to-day topic, we are going to differ. So yes, it's all good and well to come together and kind of get along with each other. But when it comes to the actual practicality of it, or how we are going to go about living our daily lives and how we're going to put all of that into practice, it will differ. And that's why what Francis is doing, to me, it's like a nice meeting for you to feel good about yourself. But when you actually start discussing, for example, things like, is abortion right or wrong? Is this right? Is this what and whatnot? That's when people are going to say, hey, hold on a second, I have a different view. I have a different, and that's where the problem lies. So yeah, that's my opinion.
Okay, I'm
But
going to
that's
take
where
two more
people have to learn to agree to disagree. And you know, if it's something where you have to make a decision, then you put a vote to it. You just do it in a way where everyone's communicating amicably, and you know, we should be able to come to a conclusion reasonably without, you know, yeah, some people might feel hard done by if a decision doesn't go their way. But as long as people feel that they've had the opportunity to input and they feel they've been listened to, then there should be no reason why they shouldn't be able to understand that, well, hold on, I don't have the majority, or even better, well, hold on a minute, maybe I was wrong, and maybe, you know, there is some light on the other side.
Okay, you know what, on that note, guys, because I like that, you know what I mean, I am going to end the show. Guys who are on the panel, please stay with me. But thank you very much. The community debate massive. Thank you all the commenters. Thank
Well
you
done,
for
guys.
coming and supporting us week after week. Thank you for supporting me for even doing like a little spot show yesterday where I just decided that I wanted to get stuff off of my chest. But I really, really appreciate everybody. Peace and love. Have a good week. Keep commenting. Keep putting stuff in the group. To the people that said that they wanted to speak about certain things, what I will do, I am going to address those comments in the following week. Or I might just decide over the bank holiday, I might just do another pop-up where I'm just like, live, I'm here again, and talk about the things that you want to talk about. Okay, so thank you very much. Give me the
Take care, guys.